Yo, what it do? Hey, we know you just saw that fresh new intro. Wasn't that shit sick? Well, we couldn't agree more, guys.
Right, we just collaborated with our boy Omar at Sun City Vibes to help create an intro that would take our podcast to the next level. Do you need help with your video editing and content creation to help elevate your business to the next level? Well, Sun City Vibes has you covered without a doubt.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Whether it's a logo reveal, a music video, drone footage, or even t-shirt printing, guys, hit up Sun City Vibes for quality work and affordable price. Shit, Omar even made us a sick-ass hat. Look at this.
It's a fresh-ass hat.
Fresh.
Shit's fresh.
Fresh.
So yeah, guys, go help support those that support us and hit up our boy Omar and tell him Chris and Misa sent you from the podcast and help support a local El Paso business today. Let's go. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. As always, co-host of the podcast, Mr. Misa fucking L is here.
Yo, what it do?
In the producer chair, our boy Joe is back.
Hey guys, I missed you guys. I was absent last week, but I missed you guys.
Nobody noticed, Joe. Nobody fucking noticed.
Get out of here. All right, guys. For episode 124, very special guest of the podcast, host of ESPN Sports Talk on ESPN 600, Mr. Steve Kaplowitz is in the building. Say what's up to the podcast, Steve.
That's a nice applause. I like that, guys. That's really good.
It's from our live audience.
We got a live audience in here, guys. We got Blue, our beer guy. We got our boy Chewy from Next Gen Sports. Shout out to Chewy
for the merch.
Looks nice. Thank you very much.
That's my boy, Blue.
That's my boy. Yes, that is our guy, Blue. Mr. Kaplowitz, thank you for being here today, man. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and hang out in the studio with us. We really do appreciate you for that. So for the audience that may not know who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
All right, sure. So I've been working in radio in El Paso for 27 years. Started in 1995, right out of college, and I did it in school for about 2-3 years in Austin when I was over at UT. Started on KLAQ with Buzz back in the mid-90s, and things were a little different back then. It was Buzz, Patty, Johnny Gonzalez, and myself. It was the four of us. Then started doing more and more work on the AM sports station, KROD, and took over for John Teicher on Sports Talk in July of 97, and I've been doing it ever since. So this will be 25 years, actually, in morning drive, or actually afternoon drive, I should say, hosting Sports Talk. And other than that, been moonlighting, did some TV sports anchoring for 7 years with different stations, write a weekly column for El Paso Inc. But for the most part, this has been my bread and butter, guys, just hosting a sports radio show each and every afternoon.
Yeah, dude. That's amazing. That's like my dream job right there for sure, dude.
So,
that's hell yeah, Mr. Kaplowitz. So, guys, we have a few gifts for Mr. Kaplowitz today.
Wow, gifts.
We're going to reveal those. But before that, guys, in order to start this podcast, we have a tradition. It's called the cracking of the celebratory beer. And it sounds like this. Shout out to everybody who's listening. Thank you guys for supporting, everybody for subscribing to our YouTube channel. And Mr. Kaplowitz, cheers to you for being here.
Cheers.
Cheers. You guys are Bud men, so cheers for that. Very nice. There you go.
Well, it's actually not even mine. This is Misa's. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, my middle name is actually Bud Light. Christopher Bud Light Marcus.
Wait, when you see him, he sweats. It's Bud Light.
You know, the fact that you guys still drink domestic beer after the rise of craft beers is pretty impressive.
Right.
Because, it really is.
That's because we were raised on these beers.
Right.
I was too. And then I discovered craft beer, and I haven't looked back. So, the nice thing is this. You can drink 10 of those, right? And, have a good time. Or you can drink 2 really, really high alcohol craft beers, feel the same way, not get as full, and have the same kind of effect.
And then your night's over, though, after 2 drinks.
That's the thing,
and you know what? When you're in your 40s, that's exactly how you want it to be.
That's right.
Smart.
But that's the thing, though. IPAs here. I mean, I went to go visit one of our friend of the podcast, Chris Molina in Oregon. So I've had some IPAs and breweries up there, and they taste way better than the ones that we have down here.
So it just depends. The key with IPAs, guys, is getting them fresh. If you get those IPAs as soon as they're canned, it's as good as it gets. But sometimes you go to the stores, you buy an IPA, you don't look at the born on date, and you realize that you're drinking an 8 or 9 month old IPA, and they do get skunky. So you got to be careful. And when it comes to beers, especially IPAs, the sooner you get them when they're canned, the better.
Hey, you should start a radio talk show about IPAs.
So we do. So we actually, for the last 15 years, we have a baseball guy on Wednesdays. His name is Jay Jaffe. He works at Fangraphs, and at the end of every segment, he reviews a beer. Now, Jay's in Brooklyn, New York, so most of the beers he reviews are New York beers. Used to be national stuff, but now so many craft beers are opening up left and right. But he's always reviewing craft beers, and then we brought him in on a couple of occasions for some of our beer fests, and he's come in as our special honorary guest, and we bring him in just to drink beer. Now, you think about this. Think about this for a second, okay? Yeah, you think I have a good job? How about that?
Right.
How about knowing that you are being brought in solely to drink
Just
beer,
drink this beer, dude.
as a like a celebrity? You're the celebrity beer drinker. That's the greatest gig ever.
Hey, that should be your job, Blue.
Not only are you the celebrity, but you're also like the beer expert. You're like the sommelier of
There you go.
of beers. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. So you were telling us just off air when you got here that you're a big tequila guy, that you like to dab into
Love tequila.
Yeah. So we went ahead and got you a few little gifts here. If you guys can go ahead and bust that out, we would really appreciate it.
Here they are.
Mr. Kaplowitz, here's a little bit of 1800.
Oh, very nice.
Clear, and then a little bit of Reposado. I had never seen this tequila before. It's called Luna Azul Reposado, and I like the bottle, so I thought we should try it.
That's cool. Yeah, let's do it. We'll break these out. Oh, you guys did something really interesting. Okay, you have them chilled. Now, I had never had chilled tequila before, right?
The best.
And a good friend of mine, Cody Decker, who played for the Chihuahuas for a few years and then was living in El Paso and working in El Paso for years, he swore by his tequila, like mixing it with ice and then like having it, chilled. I go, what are you doing? So he told me that's how he drinks it. So we tried it. We weren't impressed, but that was his thing. So guys, I'm all about it. When it comes to tequila, as long as you don't drink it with salt and lime and you just drink it straight, you sip it. The purpose of tequila is sipping tequila. Right. Have some before you go to bed, kind of nice, relaxes you, and then you go to sleep. You know
what's crazy with traditions, at least in my family, and my family comes from deep Mexico, is after you eat, you sip on a shot of tequila, so it helps you digest.
Absolutely right.
What?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Like we talked before, I'll make sure to get you some Julio 70, so you get a party popping.
I appreciate that. 70, one of the best.
Yes.
Hey, Steve, but we got a rule though. Before you leave, one of these have to be empty.
All right. Well, let's see. There's 4 or 6 of you, so that works out. Okay, we can do that. We can do that.
That's funny.
Sounds to me like it's going to be a really good weekend.
Hey,
yes. There we go.
It's only noon. Let's get it started.
That's right.
And this is our. We don't do a lot of day casts. We usually do evening casts, but I really like the day ones.
I like the day one because we start day drinking early,
right, and we finish, and it's like we still got the whole day ahead of ourselves.
I always get in trouble when we do something like this during the day because I have to go home to my wife and kids.
Yeah, that's
and
tough.
I don't remember getting home to my wife and kids, so I wake up the next day on Sunday, and I'm like, did I get home to my wife and kids? And then I look at my wife, and she's just mad dogs me, and I'm like, yeah, I showed up.
You showed up late.
Yeah, all right, Mr. Steve. So let's get into this a little bit about your story.
Sure.
Obviously, like you're prominent in El Paso. I like the fact that as soon as you got here, you were even like, damn, John Teicher came here, and like that was big because like to me, getting you and Teicher on the pod has been like one of our goals since the very beginning. To be able to say that we've accomplished that, like it means a lot to us.
I think your name is still up on our board. When we first started, we were in a garage.
Yeah, we wrote people's names.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Cage was one of them, and then
Buzz Adams.
Buzz Adams was one.
Steve.
Aaron Jones is another, and like slowly but surely we've been able to get some of you guys in here. But
right on.
So you grew up in New York, right?
Well, really, I grew up in El Paso. Born in New York. Was born in Brooklyn. Then lived in Long Island. It's a place called Massapequa Park. Not that far from the house where the Amityville Horror was filmed.
Really?
You know that.
Shit.
So,
yeah.
And by the way, that was real. That's not. It was a movie, but it's based on a real house over there. So yeah. So
that's fucking crazy.
But what happened was that now this goes back 70s, guys, 1970s. Okay. My dad sold pens. That was what his job was. He was a traveling pen salesman for Schaefer Pen Company, and they happened to have an office in El Paso. So he decided, because he used to take business trips here, that'd be a great place to move. He was tired of shoveling snow, tired of the harsh weather, and he fell in love with El Paso. So in the summer of 1978, moved us all from Long Island to El Paso. So been there ever since. So really, to me, I didn't live in New York all that long, about 5 years. So to me, El Paso is home. I still call it home, and it's the place I've lived the longest and the place I want to stay. I had opportunities to leave, but El Paso there's something so special about this town. That
you'll never have to shovel snow for sure.
And if you do have snow, you play in it. You don't shovel it. You play in it because it's a rarity. You never get it. That's right.
We don't get that stuff out here.
You take videos, pictures, and you say, "Look, this was the year it snowed in El Paso."
All of a sudden, everybody becomes meteorologists when it snows.
Yeah, dude. And
that's right.
And that's crazy because, like the whole, like, obviously the whole move from upstate New York down over here to El Paso is a very like drastic difference between the culture, the way people live, the way the cities are planned out. Everything is totally different. But Schaefer was like a pen.
So there was.
They used to make pens. They would manufacture pens.
So they would sell them. So there were places downtown in El Paso that sold pens back in those days, and he would make sure those were replenished, and he would also handle Mexico. Although when the peso devalued in the early '80s, it killed the business for him at the time because it was huge back then. People don't realize this.
Right,
there weren't computers. There weren't any computers back then.
This was before Amazon, before computers, before the internet. This was back in the days when if you wanted something, you had to go find it. Yeah. You couldn't just go online, press a button, and next thing you know, you get it. So he also had Dunhill lighters and Mont Blanc. Mont Blancs are still around today, beautiful pens. And that was it. So that was the business. And he had an office downtown, the old El Paso National Bank building. And I remember as a kid, I used to go hang out, and it was the coolest thing in the world because he always took me as a kid to Big Bun for lunch. And I thought I had won the lottery because Big Bun was this hamburger place, still around, but it's moved. It's still downtown, but it's not in the same spot. Had this little like shack where they would cook, and smoke would come pouring out of the top of the. So every afternoon, every morning around 10:30, when you saw the smoke, you knew that's when the rush was starting to come.
They're getting down there.
Oh man, as a kid, that was the greatest. That was the great. People don't realize this. Downtown El Paso, back in the 70s and 80s, was awesome. It still is, because now it's had the resurgence. But back in those days, there were so many cool things that they had back then that aren't around anymore. And when you were just walking around, you thought it was just the coolest place you could possibly be.
You don't hear that nowadays. You don't hear like, hey, let's go to downtown this weekend. It's like,
something that I always remember, my aunts and like even my dad and like, they would talk about like, they would have a whole day of going downtown, and like you would go downtown and you would just go like all over downtown, checking out all the different sights and scenes. But now it's like the only reason I go downtown is because I work there. You know what I mean? I don't really. Besides that, I don't really go downtown. Besides going to work or for like a game, like a Chihuahua game, local game. But I guess back in the day, it was more lively. People would go down there. You could shop, you could eat, you could relax, you could just sightsee. I mean, it's a lot different back in the day.
And the restaurants were killer.
Right.
And there's still some really good places to eat. But back then, they had places like there was a place called Grace's Deli. It later became Breyer's Deli on the west side, and it was in the old YWCA building. So when you walk in there, the place was always packed with business people. Great sandwiches, like New York Deluxe deli style, which you don't find here anymore. That was great. The Big Bun was great. They had some other really good restaurants. So you could always pick between about 5 to 6 great spots to go. They were always busy with business people, and it was just a different time back then. It was back when El Paso was just, Sarko was still blowing out crap all over the place.
Hey, shout out to Sarko. I remember Sarko.
Yeah.
They were still pumping lead from the ground and
all the people. That's why all my cousins from Anapra have like an extra limb or something.
Thank you, Sarko. That's right.
It was something. Something was popping off out there.
I mean, remember with the Sarko, the small community of Smelter Town that was right there.
Yeah.
Some of our family, me and Blue, are actually cousins. His mom is my dad's sister, so me and him are first cousins.
Right on.
But we have family that they were displaced from Smelter Town because of the lead contamination, the water contamination.
That says a lot on YouTube.
That's why they're super weird. Don't
look
pay
at them,
no
bro.
mind.
They both shave their heads like that. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. A lot of people don't realize like people used to live right there, and then they were displaced. A lot of them were displaced to Town and Country, the little neighborhood that's right here off of Donovan. But it's interesting. El Paso has such a unique history,
rich history,
and I like to talk to older people that have been around and lived in a different El Paso than we got the chance to grow up and experience. Because when I grew up, you couldn't even go to Juarez. The border was shut. Like, you couldn't cross. It was very dangerous to go to Juarez to party. And I know people back in the day would have a fucking field day.
Oh, dude, I
Juarez
used to
all
go party
morning.
in high school. I used to go to Kentucky Derby and let's go.
Kentucky-
Go drink-
those were like the last
go to-
years.
Those
I
were
go
like
to
the
drink-
last years before you could do that.
Yeah,
2005,
06 was the last
2006.
year where you could go safely.
Yeah.
No. This guy's saying no, dude. He's like, I was just there yesterday.
He's like, I went.
He lives over there.
You know, it's funny, guys. So back in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, when the Sun Bowl basketball tournament would happen, and the football tournament for that matter, they would always take the coaches to Mexico. And
nice.
Viva Mexico was the spot. That's
Yeah,
where
Viva
they would
Mexico,
go.
right there off,
right?
Right
They
off of El Puente Libre.
They would
which
take
is
the-
Las Americas.
They would take the basketball players to Viva Mexico. They would see the show, eat their, have a dinner, and that was part of the festivities.
The experience.
Exactly, because you come in for the Sun Bowl, you want to go to Mexico. That was
Yeah.
one of the big things. So they would have this one night that was Viva Mexico night, and it was huge.
I'd be like, y'all want to go to La Periferia? Vámonos a La Periferia.
Any crazy stories of you out there?
No, none. No, this was
never-
this was before the internet, before cell phones. No.
He's like, I know about J-Town, motherfuckers.
Yeah, and that's crazy. And one thing that me and you have in common, Mr. Steve, is we're actually CHS alumni.
Oh, there you go.
I graduated 2009.
Oh, you went to Coronado?
You went to Coronado, yeah.
Hey, put the boost down.
I don't know which one.
These guys are Franklin guys.
Oh, y'all Franklin. Hey, let's go. He's like, Franklin wasn't even invented yet when I was
It wasn't invented. There
You
was
didn't
no
have a
Franklin.
choice. It was
No.
either that or...
We'll give you that. We'll
Listen,
give
there was
you
no
that pass.
There
We'll
was
give you
no,
that pass.
there was no Franklin.
was either
We'll give you that.
Well, you could have gone to El
I'm trying to
Paso
get-
High.
I'm trying to. El Paso High was big. I'm trying to get my son to go to Coronado. He wants to go to Franklin.
He
He's
knows
like,
what. Hey, he knows what's up.
That's
He
where
does
the
not know
Cougars
what's
are.
up. He knows what's up.
That's where, yeah, but that is where the Cougars are. That's true.
Wow, 2009.
That's where the Cougars are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 2009. I graduated 09.
I think we all did. 09? 09?
09.
Oh my God! I graduated 18 years before you guys.
Jesus.
dude,
What do you
that's
what
crazy.
class?
91.
God.
Wow.
Hey,
That's when we were born. Dude.
I was born in August.
I was a year old.
I was still in my
I was a
dad's
year
website,
old,
like I said.
telling myself, I can't
Jesus.
wait to have Steve on my pod.
Steve, we didn't want to make you feel old there. It was just kind of, I just wanted to bring up the fact, CHS alum, that doesn't
you go.
really happen that much. That happened with Ivan Melendez.
Chris doesn't want him
No,
to
that's
feel
true.
old. He's
Yeah.
like, I love talking to older people.
It was more of like the
You know what? After saying that, it's like, all right, let's start drinking. Let's start drinking some tequila.
Let's start
Yeah.
sipping that.
I need now after telling me how young you guys are, I need some tequila.
after you realize 91, he's like, fuck. All right, yeah, I need a shot, man. I'm getting old.
He's like, I'm gonna see if you guys could keep up.
Oh.
Yeah, so like when you went to Coronado,
Yeah.
right away after high school, did you went to UT, right?
I did. I went straight from Coronado to UT. So I was there. I was at UT from 91 to 95.
Okay. And I mean, I've been to UT, like just like visiting the campus. I've never I've never gone to a game or anything there, but the campus lifestyle there is a lot different from what you have here at UTEP.
Yes.
What was that kind of like when you were going to school over there?
That was unbelievable. I mean, back then that was the thing. I visited two schools out of El Paso in high school. I went to ASU and I went to UT. And once I applied to Texas and got in, I thought there was no looking back. And I had a great time. I mean, I made friends at Texas that I'm still friendly with today, 30 years later after I was there. And the life was so different. I mean, you would there were parties all the time. So whether it was on campus or you went out to 6th Street. Now it's more like 6th and 4th. There was always something to do. There was never a dull moment at Texas. That was the best part. And sports-wise, you have Texas football. In those days, the basketball team was still pretty good, and so was baseball. So there was always something sports that was happening. But man, I mean, that's where I cut my teeth on radio. Was in college because I wanted to do newspaper. And when I went to see the sports editor, he told me that I would basically be doing nothing for the first year or two besides just ripping scores off and giving and being a runner. And I didn't want to do that. So the student radio station in Texas offered a chance to just get on the radio and do whatever you want. So we started doing a sports radio show, a buddy of mine, in 92, I think it was. And we spent 3 years doing that. And when I realized that being on a radio station could get you courtside access to the Spurs and then go see any sporting event you want in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio area, it was a no-brainer for me. I'm like, this is the greatest.
Hey, all I gotta say is, hey, go Spurs, go baby, go Spurs right here, go Spurs, right?
Oh, there you go,
baby.
So
Let's
I was in San Antonio when Dennis Rodman just showed up.
Really?
And this is back when he was dating Madonna. And it was also back when Rodman was the first tattooed player in the NBA, because before Rodman there really weren't a lot of tattoos around the NBA. And then he shows up and everybody starts to get tatted after him. It was kind of like a one of those. He started the trend really for sports, and
He's a trendsetter.
He was ahead of his time, and I remember those days really well because I would sit courtside. I looked behind me, and there were all these people that were multi-zillionaires, and they were behind me. And I'm like, man,
You're like, how am I in front of these guys?
this is the life.
I've made it. Yeah.
All I got to do is talk for a living, and I can go to any sporting event, which is what I grew up doing in El Paso. This was a no-brainer for me. So
That's what my
I fell in love
family
with it in
doesn't
college.
understand sometimes.
Yeah.
And
That's
what's
true.
crazy is like, obviously, like, I'm assuming you were a sports fan since you were a little kid, right?
Oh yeah, I grew up around it. My dad was my idol. And my dad was a huge sports fan, New York sports fan. So now you said upstate. Long Island is not upstate New York.
Okay.
That's like Buffalo, Syracuse, and
That's
Albany.
upstate, right, okay.
Long Island is right next to New York City practically. So it's right there. But so he was a big Knicks fan. He loved the Giants. He loved the Ranger hockey team. So we grew up around sports, and he loved UTEP. So we've been going to UTEP basketball games since '79. We've been season ticket holders for over 40 years, and that was a big deal back then because I grew up at the Haskins Center. I grew up watching not just the Bear, but all the great UTEP teams was it. So for me, sports has always, I played it, still do, and love talking about it because it's been such a big part of my life.
Right.
Damn, he plays. Let's see, we can go to the park with.
These guys went to go play basketball the other day.
We went to go play on Tuesday, right? And we were like, all right, we're 30, like we still got this. Like we used to ball up, we'd be out in the court all day, all night. We played 21, and literally after 2 rebounds, we were like, all right, dude, like.
I was throwing up. Joe was like having a heart attack.
I was like,
never again.
never again. Yeah, it's
It was
terrible.
bad. It was actually like one of the a slap in the face. Like, dude, what the fuck?
You
am I doing?
need to stay active.
Yeah, dude.
because you're not doing.
Anyways, cheers to playing
Cheers
basketball.
to getting old.
Hey.
And let's get
Salud,
that started.
boys.
Yeah, salud.
There you go.
Salud.
Cheers, everyone.
Salud.
For the people that are only listening to on audio platforms, we're taking a shot of 1800
Oh, this is gross.
clear. Yeah, this is gonna taste good. Oh man. Okay, so
I forgot that tequila blacks me out.
yeah, watch out with this guy.
He's gonna wake up tomorrow. His wife's gonna be like,
So-
"Where the fuck were you?"
Let's go back to your college days and
Sure.
something that you said you started with the student radio. Like, was it really that easy? Just anybody could go and like
It
get
was
on
amazing.
the student radio?
Yeah,
Like,
it was. And by the way, it wasn't sports. It was cable FM. So in 1992, you had to have one of those big stereo receivers, and then you took a cable wire like to your television and you split it into the back of your receiver to pick up the channel. So if you had a regular FM radio, you couldn't listen to the station.
oh shit.
It was student radio for Texas. And yeah, so it was great because we practiced. It was like we could do a show, and when we got a caller, that was a big deal. We're like, wow, you're actually listening to this shit, and it was amazing. So, but it's just the way it was. So I essentially kind of thought about how I wanted to host sports talk when I eventually got an opportunity to, and I based a lot of it on how I did my radio show back in Austin. We used to get guests on all the time back when people didn't really do that kind of stuff. And again, it was just so interesting. My producer, who worked with us on the student station, became the lead producer for Dallas Cowboys radio for 25 years. He worked as the man that would produce Brad Sham and all the Cowboy broadcasts. And then my partner and I were both from El Paso. We both graduated Coronado together, and we were both sports fans. So for us, it was no brainer. It was like, yeah, it was easy. It was great. And then we'd tape interviews. We'd run the interviews back. We'd get some calls from time to time. We did it on weekends, and it was like the best practice you could possibly have. So by the time I got out of college, I already kind of knew what I wanted to do. It was just a matter of getting that opportunity and just trying to make the most of it.
Right. And I'm tripping out on like how easy it was for you to just be able to like get into that environment. Because like it seems like they were very open to like letting.
I mean, it was the same with John
kids-
Teicher.
Yeah, like letting young college kids, kind of give them a chance and a platform. Like here, kind of do your thing and see what you can make out of it.
So it's student radio. The whole point of the radio station was whatever you wanted to do, they weren't going to tell you no. They were going to say, let's give it a shot and see how it goes. So it was an alternative station. And back then, that's when alternative was really first getting big, 90s, so early 90s. So they played a lot of music, but they did have these specialty weekend shows like we
talk
did.
shows.
Exactly right. And that's what we did. We did, I think it was an hour.
And what was
every
it
week.
about? Was it like usually sports or what was
sports.
it? All sports. Always.
Yep. And we interviewed people that, back in those days, nobody really did. I mean, that was the funny thing is that a lot of talk radio back in the 80s and 90s was just the opinion of the host and no guests. Right. And my idea was, especially when I started here, was let's get as many national guests on the radio as we possibly can to really help put El Paso on the map and let people listening locally realize we can get the same big names that you hear all over the country with some of the other stations. So that's what we started doing. We were, getting on play-by-play broadcasters, former athletes, writers, and just other individuals in sports. And next thing you know, coaches, we've got all these different guests coming. We're building this huge Rolodex. And before you know it, the show is just getting, filled with guests, which I think my listeners have always enjoyed because they like hearing, it gives you some credibility when you start getting some of those bigger names on with you on the show.
Especially when somebody from El Paso is the one doing the interview. But it's cool because you also get local athletes. Kind of. I saw you had a while back a DJ Bonds, a boxer. We had him on here too, which I think is cool because here in El Paso, you want to hear, big names, nations, but you also want to hear, like your local athletes you didn't know were around.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And there's so many, the thing is this too. There's so many good local athletes that have come out of El Paso. Yeah. And now more than ever, they're getting discovered. They're getting a chance to have college scholarships. Right. Some of the fighters are now turning pro and following in the footsteps of guys like Tony Escalante, David Rodriguez, Jennifer Hahn, Juan Lascano, some of the guys that have really been able to make it big over the years. And now they're having their opportunity. So that's also really neat. And then you got pro wrestlers like now Cinta de Oro, who used to be Sin Cara.
I just want him to fucking slap me, dude. I just want him to rip my shirt and like,
take a slap from that guy and chop.
I've seen the slap challenge.
I know you're watching, bro. I know you're watching.
Has he been on your show?
Not yet.
He's such a good guy too. One of the nicest people you'll ever get a chance to meet.
Until he slaps you viciously on the chest.
Well, I'll be honest.
I know you'll do it.
I haven't requested that. I have no interest in that. Right. But remember, you're my boy, Blue, and if you're going to do that, you need to get that done. That'll be great. That'll be perfect.
He's a punching bag. Him and Misa actually are the punching bags.
Yeah, I've been punched by what was it? A boxer?
By Andrea?
Carla, the what? The
Andrea Amato.
Andrea Amato, and then also the boxer. What's her name?
Kayla Gomez.
Kayla Gomez.
How'd that feel?
Dude,
were you wearing a headgear?
No, he got punched in the stomach.
Oh, okay. Did you at least tighten up?
I did. But the one that hurt the most was the MMA, man. The latest one that we did, Andrea. Yeah. And then she kicked this guy twice
in
on
the
his
ribs.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I just wanted to feel the power. Like I wanted to feel like so like if my wife pisses me off, I'll tell her, hey, you don't know
how to punch.
Who I go.
You punch like a girl.
My wife punches me, and be like, I've been punched harder.
Oh.
But here's the funny thing, guys. So, we're talking about, getting into the business and what it was like, right? When I started in El Paso, I didn't start doing sports right out of the gate. I was working for Buzz, and essentially I felt like I had to pay my dues, so to speak, and do everything I could for him before I had the opportunity to really start working more with John Teicher, because he was the guy on KROD back when I started in the mid 90s. So I had to do the craziest stunts you could ever imagine. I was stunt boy on that morning show.
You were blue.
Worse.
Worse. So give us some ideas. Give us some ideas.
All right, sure. So now remember, this is 1995, right? Buzz was totally different back then. He was crazy. Did as much. He was more like he liked to push the envelope and do whatever he could that got him attention. And he wasn't afraid of anything. Not like he is now, but he's old. We're all older. It just changed. You're talking almost 30 years, and it's been a while. So in those days, let's see. Here's my favorite stunts. So the first thing they ever made me do was they put me in a UTEP football helmet, shoulder pads, right behind a garbage can, 100 yards out of a golf course driving range, where you had to try to hit me with a golf ball from the tee box to win tickets. to a concert. Okay, that was the first thing. That was like
Joe.
welcome to radio.
Write this shit down.
I'm writing this shit
we
down
might
right now.
we might have Blue do this shit.
There you go. So that
do
was
this
it.
right now.
So that was fun. That was to see Page and Plant.
Right.
Okay, so that again goes back a while. Then one time they had me as the human Christmas tree. So here's what they did. Around the holidays, they had me on a jacket, and the jacket was taped with cash. Okay, the whole jacket was taped with cash. Mostly ones, but there were some 5s, 10s, 20s, and 100s. They had me jump out of the back of the vehicle into a pile of people whose job it was to
rip
grab
that money.
all the money and take it and get it away from me.
You know, I would have tackled you. I would have tackled you. And
Somebody probably grabbed more than $1 bill for sure.
Now here's what I did. It was great. I jumped right into the middle of them. And I hit the deck, and as they started grabbing me, I found my way to wiggle out of the jacket. So then they're piling on the jacket,
you just
grabbing
take
the money, and I was already out of there. So I got
He's like
smart.
so now,
Damn.
So Steve, like, did they not have like a HR division there?
No.
Like, human resources wasn't
Buzz
consulted
Adams
on
is
any of this.
this is before those days.
Hey, Buzz Adams like HR.
I mean, is there
my
video?
dick.
Bro, I'm just thinking of you
No.
like taking like a golf ball to the face, like even with the helmet
So,
on. Like
There must be video of this out there,
So
right?
you got to realize, and I think somebody got me in the leg, but it was all right. It didn't hurt because it kind of bounced and got me. But the point was this: you did what you had to do those days.
Right.
Like when you're on the #1 rated morning show, and that was that era where again there was no internet, there was no computers. It was just basically like, hey, you do what we tell you to.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. And I was just getting started, so I'm thinking this is my in. I'll do whatever they want.
You're like, HR, what is that? I don't know what that is.
Exactly right. So I interned from the summer of '95 to October. Didn't make a dime, but I worked every morning
You
with
put
him.
in work.
Absolutely.
You put in work.
You had
put
to.
in the work.
Damn, it's
And
kind
then-
of
Now look at you.
like us, man. I mean, I did the hot chip challenge. I never got paid for that shit. I've been
Should've-
punched. Never got paid for that shit.
No?
But
We'll get there one day.
one day.
You should at least get like an endorsement through the hot chip people.
Right?
Yeah. Well, now
Be
you
like,
bring that up.
watch
Yeah.
me eat this while I get kicked in the ribs. All right, guys.
so like as an intern, what else are you doing? Are you like running the board or like what?
So
else?
my job was also to edit audio a lot, and in those days we didn't really. We just started getting computers, but Buzz didn't like computers back then. We had we had reel-to-reels. We had reel-to-reels, so all of our audio was on reel-to-reel.
Whoa.
And I don't know if you guys know what a reel-to-reel player is, but it's basically like you get these two large, tape. Like it's like on a disc, but there's tape, and it rolls. And then when you want to edit things, you have to use like a razor and
Split it out?
the tape, and then put it back together, tape it up, and that's how we did a lot.
So
of our shows
literally
back in those
manually
days.
you'd have
yes,
to, like,
everything.
fucking cut
That's
it
what they taught us in college. So
Wow.
I was trained. That's really how I was trained. The digital audio editing and video editing you have now, that wasn't around back then.
right.
It makes it much easier, right? So, but in those days, you did everything old school. We had records. We played with record players, CD players. That was back. All of our commercials were with basically 8-track tapes. They would in the tape deck, and you play with those. They call them carts. So as we started to see more and more computer technology take over, he eventually kind of came around. But in the beginning, everything was old school. Wow. He used to use 8-track reel-to-reels, which is even crazier because the tape was like this thick. I mean, it was nuts. And the way 8-track reel-to-reels work is you actually record on 8 different tracks of tape, and then you have to put it all together into one. And that's how he was. That's what he was. And I just remember the fights to try to get him off of that and onto the computer editing. And he's like, computers are not going anywhere. It's never going to happen. I'm staying on 8-track. This computer thing is a fad.
And look at him now.
Look at him now. He's got no choice but to be on a computer.
I listen to the Buzz Adams show a lot every morning, and to this day, these guys they're still having problems with Buzz fucking memorizing a password or using his email and shit like that. He told me when I first met him, I told him about getting him on the pod, and he's like, "Yeah, just send me an email." And then like 2 days later, I'm hearing them in the morning. They're like, "Yeah, Buzz never checks his email. He doesn't do it. He doesn't even know how to run." And I was like, fucking Buzz.
He got you.
He got me on that one.
No, he did. But the truth is, guys, I owe tons to Buzz and I owe tons to John Teicher, because when I started and I was just getting into this business, they were two people that helped me out more than you can imagine. Right. And, they didn't have to do that. They could have just blown me off. But Buzz was great to work with, and we get along real well after all these years.
He's like, after all these years.
You still get on his show, though.
I do. I usually come on once or twice a week in the last hour of the show, and it's fun for me. I enjoy it. He plays the same theme song he's been playing for 20-something years, and it never gets old.
It works. It works.
I love it because there's always a part where Steve's all like, listen, Buzz, listen. No, Buzz.
I could just imagine you in the studio like, dude, Buzz.
Listen.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, Buzz Adams is a staple in El Paso.
He is.
And Buzz has been doing
this 30 years. I've been at it 27. Right. He's been
along
30,
with John Teicher. You guys are staples in the community with sports and just people who on the radio. You guys are personalities.
Was it everything you expected or wanted? Now, in this, like after all these years and where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, you can't complain. It's the greatest job in the world. Now, here's the thing. My main job is I sell advertising. That's how I make my money. If I tried to make my money off of doing a 3-hour sports radio show, I would have quit this 20-something years ago. So the truth is, when I get to work early in the morning, most of it is selling digital advertising, radio commercials, sponsorships, that kind of thing, and we've been doing that forever. But the show is the fun part of the day. It's when the day's almost over. I come on at 4:00. Everything else goes away, and you just get in front of a microphone like you're doing right now and just be yourself. And if you like this business, if you love this business, right, and you love just talking to people and just engaging in people and hearing what they have to say, and from time to time you do dumb shit, but just because I want to have some fun and enjoy it. But for the most part, you're doing the same kind of show you've been doing just to get people excited, talk UTEP, talk Cowboys, talk sports in general, and have some fun with it. There's nothing better. And you're getting paid for it.
I think the thing is, so dude, that you also have to be good at it, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would want that job, but maybe they don't have the skills or anything.
It's not even being
or
good.
It's just a natural.
It's the voice. You have a voice for it. You have a voice for radio.
I do. I don't have a face for TV. I got a voice for radio. You're right about that. There you go.
He's got the voice. Every time I'm flipping through my stereo, that's Kaplowitz. Hey, let me listen to him real quick.
It's like almost like a backhand compliment in a way.
Yeah. No, and I know it. I mean, people just say, "Hey, you've got a voice made for this business," and I appreciate that. It's nice, but I feel the same way. I do. You've been doing this so long, you feel like your voice is made for certain things. And I do. I feel like my voice is made for radio, and that's the best part about it, because I've been doing this so long. Crowds don't bother me. I love people, love talking to people. That's why when you guys invited me, I don't do a lot of podcasts just because I don't get asked. It's real simple. I mean, poor Misa, he slid into my Facebook messages, and what people don't understand is I'm hardly ever on
now
Facebook.
Hit him up on Twitter, dog.
Now he's got my cell phone. You can text me. That's fine.
There you go. That's what I learned from Chris. Because for a while, I'll send a message to somebody that I want on, and it's hard because, like you said, some people just don't get on Messenger too much or Facebook or anything like that.
The biggest thing is get their cell number.
So I hit up Steve. Yeah. Steve said he was down, and I sent him some info. I didn't hear anything about him. A week later, he's like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm never hardly on this." And I was like, "All right, well, here's my number." And then another week went by.
I'll tell you a quick story. This is funny too. So I'm working with someone now. His name is Adrian Broadus. Now Adrian is phenomenal. Went to Franklin. Great. There you go.
Hey, go Franklin. Let's go.
Little younger than you guys. But he's been with me now about 4 or 5 years. So when he started working with us, he said, he goes, "I reached out when I was at Franklin High School to you." I said, "Nah." He goes, "Yeah, I did." So I started going back to my old messages on Facebook that I never check. And sure enough, there was this message from like 2015, the nicest, most well-written message I've ever seen. And I never looked at it. And I felt, I felt so bad because I said, you did everything right. But what you didn't know is I just never look at Facebook. So unfortunately, you sent me this great message about how you want to, work with us and how you want to intern. And if I would have just paid attention to it, I would have responded. But I said, don't take it personally. The only thing I use Facebook for the most part, is a call screener. So we use Messenger between the two of us. So when somebody's on the phone lines, he can message it to me on Facebook, and that's how I know who's on the phones. Or if there's a great tweet or something that we find on social media, he'll send me the link. That's our means of communication. I feel
That's
worse.
like your group chat. That's your group chat.
Exactly right.
Well, now I know.
And you know what's even worse? My wife, she like tags me on stuff like family stuff, and I never look at it. And I'm like, listen, don't take offense. I don't want to be the deadbeat husband. I'm just not on Facebook.
You're like, I'm not a fan. You're like, I got more important shit to do than be on Facebook, right?
I'm just never on it. So I feel terrible. So
And
what I'll
then
do
like,
is,
I don't love y'all.
Hey, he's like Drake. He's like, going online ain't part of my day, right? Let's go.
Twitter, yes. So like on Sundays, I'll go on Facebook. I'll like about 6 days worth of stuff that I've seen just to catch up, so I don't look like I'm a complete loser. But for the most part, some people are on different things. I live on Twitter because in my world, in my business, Twitter is on.
That's your Twitter, right?
So
That's
that's my handle. That's my
you.
Twitter
There you
handle.
go.
Yes.
Verified.
But when it comes to, thank you. But when it comes to Facebook, I use it more for the show. I do. So I do feel bad when people try to reach out to me on Facebook, and it's not nothing personal. It's just I don't use it because to me, if I was on Facebook, I'd never stop. It's one of those things where
He's like, it's like crack, man.
it is because everybody is putting different stuff about their family, their life, this and that, and it is because once you talk about getting in a rabbit hole, once you start looking in Facebook, you can't pull away.
That's why we got our boy Joe to be our social media guy.
Good for you, smart move.
That's all I do. I work from home. I'm on my computer all day. I'm on my phone all day. Like,
You got a big crew, by the way. You have 5 people here. I've got one.
Look. That's our merch guy.
We got
Shout
our
out
merch guy.
Chewy.
Nice.
We got our beer guy. He's a friend of the pod. He's cousins.
My boy Blue. Yeah.
Hey,
Yep, your boy Blue.
mind you, we have a really good friend of the pod in Oregon.
Okay.
Shout out Chris Molina. He does
our
all their
graphics.
thumbnails, all their
Nice.
graphics. He does all. He writes our.
He's like our
breakdowns.
executive advisor. He'll
Yeah.
advise us on shit that we should do and shouldn't do.
He's
There you go.
He's out in Oregon, Bend, Oregon. Shout out Molina.
Have you guys been to Bend, Oregon?
I have.
How is it?
It's amazing.
All right.
Dude, this guy sent us a photo. It was like 8:30 at night, and it was like sun still out.
No, mind you, he took me to Crater Lake. He took me to Blue Pool. He took me to Kusha Fall.
All the great spots. All right. I haven't been to Bend.
That's why I was asking you, because when I told you about IPAs earlier, the IPAs over there, they get the water from the Chutes River.
The Chutes,
So
by the
it's
way, the
clean.
Chutes
The Chutes
beer
brewery
is
is
great.
is
That
fire.
is my favorite.
So
They make a Black Butte
Yes.
porter that is awesome.
Imagine that having that on tap.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Favorite IPA. Now that we're talking about it, real quick.
You know what I really like a lot because it's just so consistent. I like the 7K IPA from
7K Santa Fe is fire. That's every time I go to
It's really
I
good.
go to
Look at Joe
Union.
getting so excited.
No, every time I go to Union or Keg and Brew, I always get a 7K because I know they have
Hey,
it.
Joe.
But you want to know? But one of my.
Settle down.
But I will say this, okay? Dead Beach's
silent.
Abuela Stout is
Abuela
about as
Stout's
good as
fire.
is about as good as it gets. Now again, that's 9% alcohol by volume, so that you have a couple of those, and
Yeah, call it a night.
your wife's not going to remember.
Chris-
You're not going to know anything about what you
Chris
were.
wouldn't drink that. He's like, if it's not Bud Light, I don't want it.
Yeah. I
Well,
like-
good. Bud thanks you for that.
Yes, sir.
And LNF does too because you're keeping them going, which is what it's all about. So
You know what? This is the only red coat I go for.
Look, between both of them, they probably put up like 50% of the profits, man.
Yeah,
I'm being
sure.
serious.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. And honestly, like one other thing too, that the reason I like Bud Light is it reminds me of my dad for sure.
There you go.
Like it's literally like a nostalgic thing. Like
Definitely.
my
So my-
dad and my whole family would drink Bud Light, and like it got passed down.
It's
you
a
know?
Mexican
that's
thing.
good. Yeah, you know what my dad used to love to drink? Bohemia. He was a Bohemia fan.
Bohemia
Loved
Negra?
it.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Is that
Bohemia
that's
was
like a old
I'm writing this
Mexican
down.
beer?
Yeah.
What is that? Okay,
No,
I've
but
never
still,
heard of
but
that.
Bohemia's still
Okay.
around. You guys can find it. It's,
Yeah,
it's
still
available.
it's good.
My dad used to take meth, so I was like, yeah, not for
Jesus
me.
Christ.
You don't even have a dad, dude. Get out of here.
If I did, that's whatever.
Hey, he ain't Jesus. Come down.
So Steve, what is like when once you broke through into the business, right? You said you credit a lot of that to like working with John Teicher, working with Buzz.
Sure.
What was one of the biggest like obstacles that you had to overcome through your journey to get like to where you are today?
Well, when I took over, I was 24 years old, and nobody thought a 24-year-old could host Sports Talk after John. That was the biggest thing more than anything else.
Well, there was some big shows to fill in.
Shoes to fill, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
What were
And
you doing
to
at
fill.
24 years old, Chris? You were in jail. That's what
No, I wasn't in jail. God damn.
He was like a 200 pounds lighter.
That yes. I wasn't in jail though. Jesus Christ.
He was in jail 200 pounds lighter.
But yeah, I wasn't doing much at 24. That's for sure.
You were working at what, like Forever 21 or some shit?
Yeah, no, I think I was already where I am.
What were you doing
right
at
now.
24?
Well, that's what he was saying. He was hosting a show.
I was working on the queue at 22, and by 24 I was hosting Afternoon Drive, and I was doing that, and it was really funny too because at the time I was still living at home because you have to make your money count, and they call me into the office, and my boss Brad Dubois tells me, listen. You're going to be hosting. You're going to be hosting.
They're nice. I love them.
Absolutely.
I love them. They love my child. They know my child. I love them. They're nice people.
So he tells me we're gonna get you out of the house. I said, great, it's about time. So he gets me. I get an apartment trade, and then I'm making my first salary. And when you add it all up, it was more money than I ever thought I could ever get because the apartment trade by itself was worth its weight in gold. So that's how I started in terms of I was living in Acacia over there on.
Hey, I used to live
Mountain.
in Acacia too.
Yeah,
right there off Mesa Hills.
Look at that! Look at all the stuff we have in common.
Right? Did we just become best friends?
That's right.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Acacia right there off of Mesa Hills.
Let me turn off Joe's mic real quick.
Yes.
But that was the biggest thing was that a lot of people didn't think that somebody that young could host the show and take it over. And we changed it a lot. That was the biggest thing for me was things were done with John years back that I wanted to kind of overhaul the show a little bit. So we did, which was a risk because we took away certain things that people were used to and we wanted to do things differently. So once we started bringing on more guests and we ultimately changed the format around a little bit, the show started to really kind of take off a little bit for us, and it was great. We just never looked back. And I worked with Duke Keith to start. He was my partner on Sports Talk, and then since Duke, I've probably worked with about 6 to 8 different people over the last 25 years. But it's been my home. I mean, that's that microphone, that show. I've been a part of that for so long, guys. It's crazy to think that more than half my life has been spent
working on that.
Yeah, on the show. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then you kind of have like a sense of ownership in a way. Like this is like something that you put a lot of work into, so you take pride in putting out a good show.
Yeah, you don't hear people say like, "Hey, you listen to the ESPN talk?" No, you did you hear Steve's show this morning, or did you hear him in the afternoon? Or, you don't. It's Steve's show. And I think that's cool. Eventually, that's what I want to get. I wanted to be like, hey, did you listen to Misa, not Chris?
But here's the funny thing. The name of the show is Sports Talk, okay? So the show was called Sports Talk when it started in 1990. It's still Sports Talk now. And I've been hosting it for the longest period of time. But, to me, it's not Sports Talk with Steve Kaplowitz. It's Sports Talk. And I've been just behind the microphone for that show. And I like that too. I've never really wanted it to be my name. I just want to be the voice you hear when the show starts every afternoon. And I've had that opportunity and been really lucky for that.
So, like, since you guys are an ESPN affiliate, I'm only assuming that you've had opportunities to go elsewhere, right?
So I haven't pursued a ton over the years. I just haven't, and there's a lot of reasons for that. My family's here, and obviously I'm close to them, and since and I've been married now 16 years, but I've known my wife for 25 of those 16. So as her family's here and my family's here. We've never really looked to get away, but there was a time years ago where I was up for a job in Pittsburgh and went through the process for about, 2-3 months. And they wanted me to run the sports station over there. And they had a guy, his name was Mark Madden, and he is the voice of Pittsburgh sports. He did WCW wrestling back in the 90s. And he's kind of that shock jock sports. And he went through all these different program directors, and they were really wanting to bring me on board. But it never came to fruition for 2 reasons. When it came to salary, after all these months, I found out I was making more money in El Paso than I would be in Pittsburgh, which I said is crazy. You can't tell me that I shouldn't be making more in Pittsburgh than I should in El Paso. And then I asked to be on air, and they said, no, we can't guarantee on air. We want to make you more of a behind-the-scenes program director. And when I realized that I would be off air and making less money and probably out of a job because the guy was crazy, didn't want to deal with that. So I said, you know what, just forget that. So I stayed in El Paso.
You're like, I got to peace out.
Yeah. It's like,
no way.
Exactly.
No way I would do it.
Dream for me was always to work in New York. Wanted to work in New York City for WFAN, which was still is the sports radio station in New York that I feel is the best in the country, but never had that opportunity. But at this stage, guys, I don't care anymore. I mean, I've put so many years in this business and I've done it so long that if I said to you today, this is my last day on the air, I'm done, I'd feel no regrets. I'd feel good about that.
Fulfilled.
So, absolutely.
We definitely be like, we pour beer out for the homie Steve Kaplowitz on there.
You could toast for me. Adrian's going to take over Sports Talk, and he's going to do a killer job because he is unbelievable. So excited about what he's going to bring to that show down the road, and that'll happen probably sooner rather than later.
You know, it was
gotta
crazy.
get him on the
Like,
pod
we
then.
both have kids, so our kids aren't going to listen to you on there. They're not going to listen to John Teicher. They're not going to experience what we experienced as kids growing up.
Yeah.
Well, my son is 9, and I've put him on the air since he's about 2 or 3 years old on different occasions.
That's cool.
And you want to know something?
William on there.
He's not afraid, man. That kid gets on the microphone and he is ready to go. He's like his dad. So it's really cool listening to
Hey,
him.
imagine your son taking over the sports radio talk show.
I don't want him. I want to make some money, man. I want to make some
Go
money.
be an attorney or
Yeah,
something. Do
exactly.
something.
Let's
Go be a doctor, my guy.
If I brought my son in here, dude,
Hey,
like,
but
what's up,
but what if that's what he likes?
You never know. Well, that's true. You never know. But he's into so many different things right now. You know, I don't know what he's going to be. It's kind of cool to see all the things he wants to do, and we'll see when he gets older what he decides.
Do you ever
to
think
do.
that like in your career, in your position, it's always been kind of like underpaid, like from all the stuff that all these guys do?
Compared to other markets, sure.
Right.
It is. It's always been underpaid. But you know what? I mean, you have to realize something too. I'm hosting a sports radio show on an AM radio station.
Right.
Like seriously, we're not FM sports talk, we're AM sports talk. So, you know, if I was doing Buzz's job,
Right.
money's totally different than it is because he's bringing in more advertising dollars. Because ultimately, that's the name of the game.
Yeah,
that's how
advertising.
That's how we get paid. We get paid based on how much advertising we sell. We sell a lot of advertising. You're making really good bank. If you don't sell as much, or you're on a station that doesn't command the same price point for advertising dollars, it's going to be a little different. Which is why I got into sales. And to me, again, I talked about this earlier. Sales is like hosting a show.
Yeah.
You're still engaging with people. You're just engaging for selling your product versus doing the show and talking sports. But for me, since so many people I work with in the sales aspect know me from the sports radio show, we talk sports anyway. We're just not doing it on the radio. We're doing it in their office or on the phone or something like that.
And I was gonna ask too, like, you know, that being said, is it something that like maybe like kind of you get tired of? You know, you run into a fan or something and they'd be like, "Hey, Steve, what do you think about the Cowboys? This and that," and
No,
you're at
you can't.
Walmart trying to scan through, and you're like, "Oh,
Hey,
you
go
can't.
boys.
You want to know something? You can never get tired because ultimately they're the people that keep you getting your paycheck.
Keep you in business.
Absolutely right. Yeah, 100%. And if it wasn't for them, I would have been out of this a long time.
Oh, yeah,
ago.
definitely.
So no, very, very appreciative of listenership and people that want to talk to you, and you always find time. You never try to blow
you
them.
got
I would have been
three
like, fuck the
listeners here.
Cowboys."
Hey, come down now. Just kidding. We them boys, right? This is our year.
Every year.
I'm being a delusional Cowboys fan.
He's
right
like,
now.
did you see the schedule? The strength of schedule is amazing this year.
Yeah, it's
They're
amazing.
the worst
We better
strength of
win.
schedule in
Yeah,
the NFL.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
but
like,
they
you
also
know.
have the hardest 6 games of the season. Have you seen their first 6 games?
Well, okay,
The first
so
6
they're,
games?
they're
Yeah.
starting with Tampa. I know.
yeah, and then
that.
they got to play the Bengals.
And then who else is there? I know they're playing in Lambeau against Green Bay.
They are. And then they got to play in
Chicago's
Minnesota
coming
against
here.
the Vikings. They also have, I think, the Giants are early in that schedule. The Eagles are on the road. They got a tough schedule. I mean, they've got to. It's not going to be
We got
easy
the
to
Lions.
get.
They're
We got
just
the
lucky-
Lions after that.
They're
Come
just
on,
lucky
man.
they don't play the Chargers.
Get the fuck.
He's a Chargers
Are you a
fan.
Charger fan?
I'm a Chargers
And then
fan.
he-
Hey,
he's a-
Chargers, I like. I think that's a
love the
team that's going to be that whole division though.
Yeah.
Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos. That's it.
They got Russell Wilson up in the mix now.
They
yeah,
do.
yeah, he's with Denver now. So
Yeah.
that-
We got a Packers fan over here. What's your team, Chewy? The Rams. Oh, okay. And he's an OG Rams fan. So he's
for you.
ride or
greatest
die.
show on turf.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir. Yes, sir. I know what you're talking about. All right, so look, we're 50 minutes in right now.
Time
So
flies,
Do you
doesn't
guys want to take a break, or do you want to just?
I do need to take
Yeah,
a
we
quick
need to take a
piss
little
real
break.
quick.
Let's take a little break. Everyone can take a piss. We'll load up another
I
tequila
just fixed
shot.
your toilet, so I'm excited
yes.
to use
Yeah,
it.
we just fixed
Misa
it. We just
fixed
fixed
the
it.
toilet.
We fixed it over here for you.
There's an emergency toilet situation. We'll talk about that later, maybe. But one thing I wanted to ask you in the second half is I was reading one of your bios, and you said that your dream job was to be like a food critic.
Oh yeah.
So I want to talk to you about
We
that.
didn't get into that.
I want to see like why,
Sounds good.
like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then we'll do some trending topics, and then we'll do 5 random questions at the end.
Take a quick
Fantastic.
5-minute
But
break.
yeah, let's take a quick break here. Shout out our boy Chewy in the live audience for the merch, Next Gen Sports. Make
Next
sure
Gen
you guys
Sports, guys.
go follow him on Facebook
follow him.
and everywhere else on social media. And if you guys are on our YouTube, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Episode 124 with Steve Kaplowitz. We're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right.
Try to replace me, but bitch, I'm one of a kind. You know, I be speed racing up on the highway 95. Look, I don't give a fuck why these niggas hating on me. Oh, wait, because I got your bitch tripping on me. She said my love promethazine got her leaning on me. Spanish mommy with that accent, bet she call me Poppy. Okay, yeah, she be hitting my...
All right, guys, we are back from break, episode 124, with friend of the podcast, Mr. Steve Kaplowitz.
Hey, let's go.
Mr. Kaplowitz, thank you once again for stopping by, man.
No.
We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, for real.
Thanks for having me, guys. I listen, I'm the one that should thank you because I do appreciate the invite, and it's been a fun show so far. I'm looking forward to what we have in part number 2.
I think the part number 2 is a little fun.
Part 2, we're just going to kind of let loose a little bit. We're just going to delve into a few random little topics.
Okay.
One thing that I wanted to just ask you about real fast is you said you haven't done a lot of interviews because you simply just don't get asked to do so. Do you like being interviewed? Is it weird being on the other side of the microphone?
Not at all. I mean, it's conversational, and that's been my motto when I do the show. In fact, when I interview a lot of guests, a lot of them are nervous because they don't do a lot. I said, listen, don't worry about it. We're just going to talk. Like, just pretend the microphone's not even there. Right. And you get them to the point that by the end of the interview, they can't believe how easy and relaxed they were. And that's the key to interviewing, guys, is just to don't make it feel like an interview. Make it feel like you're just having a
like
conversation.
a kickback,
exactly.
right.
And that the microphones are not even there. They're just, that's the most important
I think we've
thing.
done a really good job with a lot of our guests like that, because we've had a lot of guests who are like, I've never done this before. And by the end of it, man, they've told us their biggest secrets and
There
shit.
you go. Nice. They open up to you.
And then at the end, they're like, yo, were we recording?
That's the trick. Good for you guys. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, so like I said, one last thank you from the podcast for being here today.
You got it.
We really do appreciate that. We have an open door policy, so if you ever want to hop back on for round 2, we can definitely do that. But like I was saying to end the first half, Steve, I saw on one of your bios, I think it was on the ESPN website bio that you had about wanting to be a food critic. Where does that kind of come from? Like, and what do you envision that being like?
Well, first off, I'm like a lot of you guys. I'm sure you're all foodies nowadays.
Look at me.
Look at him.
So
He sweats Bud Light and tacos or some shit.
you think about this. There's restaurants everywhere now.
Right.
And, in the old days, and again, 80s in El Paso, you had to drive to the east side for some restaurants because you couldn't find them on the west side, and there weren't restaurants every 5 feet the way there is now.
Or Uber Eats.
Exactly right. There was not Uber wasn't around, but the truth is that if you grew up here or anywhere and you wanted to go out with your family and when you were kids, you drove places. We used to drive. There was a Chinese restaurant called Uncle Bao's that we liked a lot. It wasn't on the west side.
Uncle Bao's?
No.
I remember that. I remember that faintly.
Well, this was located like far east over there in that far east, but it was like on Yarborough. Now it's central, but back in those days it was the east side, and we would drive all the way from the west side there for that meal because my family liked it and they didn't care about getting in the car and driving.
Hey, what type of
25
cars
minutes.
would you guys whipping back then?
Station wagons.
Damn, with the stage.
How much was the gas back then on them wagons?
Oh my God! Well, gas was like a buck and change. You know
Fucking
that?
changed.
Yeah. Fill me up. By the way, back in those days, full service.
Oh, they
They
put
didn't
me
even
get out of the
they
car.
clean your
They
windows.
put me
Yeah,
guys
they
in
did
your
all that
window.
stuff.
Yep.
You pull in there and
Check
they do
your oil.
everything
Why
for
did they
you.
stop doing that? I've wondered that. Like in Mexico, you go to Mexico,
Hey,
they still have that shit.
No, but
you
you know
don't
there's-
have somebody still
But
fucking put gas.
You know, there's still states in the U.S. that does that. What is
Yep.
that? Like New Jersey or
Yeah,
New Jersey does that.
still does full service. That's
full
correct.
service. That's
But
crazy.
why? Why'd they stop that, dude?
Good
They
question.
just didn't want to play their employees. Like, nah, fuck that. Let the customers do it.
No, and you know what's funny?
It's like
Now-
going to a restaurant. It's
And
like
now
going to
the
a
cus-
restaurant and paying for a meal, and you have to cook it though.
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. There's a place in El Paso years ago. It was called You Are Cooks, and it was a steakhouse. It was a steakhouse right by the airport, and you picked out your steak. You went on the grill, and you cooked your own steak.
You cook your own steak there.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, yo, I pay money. I pay mad money for that to do
and
that.
then
because they be fucking on my steaks.
If you screw it up, it's your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
What a
That's
great,
why I wouldn't do it.
Hey,
That strategy is amazing.
what a great idea.
That is perfect.
You know,
Because,
think about that.
Because, they be fucking on my steaks.
Yeah.
At State Line Roadhouse, sometimes even at Cattleman's, they be fucking on my shit. So I'm like, yo, I hate to be the guy, but send it back.
Hey, I gotta say something. While Joe's talking at us, I feel like his eyes are getting smaller and smaller. I don't know. Look at him.
It's a tequila.
Bro, Joe's like, Joe
looks like he's just finished reading some Chinese literature or something. I don't know what's going on.
Bro,
with Joe.
Joe's literally like, everybody fucks up my steak. Every
Everyone.
fucking person.
Everyone, dude. I gotta
so
cook it myself.
I didn't realize it was such a hot button. For
Right. Neither did I. He was like right away calling restaurants out for fucking up his steak.
So you think about it. If you're a food critic and your job is to go show up, eat, and then write about your experience,
Right.
it's pretty good. Now, I'll ask you guys this question, okay? Because you guys probably eat out a lot. Is the customer service experience today as good as it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, or when you were growing up as kids?
It's trash because now there's a demand for employees because nobody wants to work.
That's
so
right.
everybody just wants to work just because they have to. It's more of an
It's like I also feel that like you go and then like the people that are working are pissed off that they're working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember back then, like, hey, like my steak isn't cooked so well. It's like, you know what? Let me bring you a brand new one. Even though you ate most of it. And then they'll bring you a brand new one. And over here is like, well, sorry, sir, I'm gonna have to charge you for that. You shouldn't have taken a bite if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
No, but
I mean, it all just depends on the server. I mean, like I went to dinner yesterday at Applebee's with my family.
Was it trash?
And no, I mean everything was fine. Everything was just like as you expected, and the server was very like on top of the.
All right, Chris,
on
but did
top
you
of
get a
us.
foot massage while you were eating?
No, I mean, why are we
Okay,
getting
then
a
fuck
foot
that.
massage?
Dude, I'm not done with that.
know, because look,
No,
like-
the idea is just that like
But okay,
sometimes
but-
you get a bad server and that's it.
Oh yeah,
You know
but
what I
that's
mean?
why I mean, like for at least with my family, we go to the restaurants where we know the service is good, where we know the server. We know we like to especially like you asked, like is it service change? So we know that we realize that we know go where the service is always on point. So we go get our shit
What
done.
about you,
We
Steve?
go sleep.
Same question to you. You think it sucks now?
It's just different. I mean, I feel like nowadays it's hard to find consistency.
Right.
That's
Yep.
the biggest. That's the biggest thing. And I'm all about a good consistent meal. I want to go to the same place, feel like you're getting your money's worth every single
Yep,
time,
that's
and that's tough.
That's what we do. That's
Yeah.
what we do. We go to Chili's. We go to Roadhouse. We have our server.
But you're
we go-
talking about chains. I said the question is this about the local establishments, because that's the key. The ones that are not, you can't find them in other cities. The ones that, that's the ones you really want
Look,
to
for
have.
example, Taco Totem. I like Taco Totem.
Okay.
But have you been to La Taqueria down on Solon Park?
I heard that
Bomb
place is good. I heard
Bomb
that place is
tacos.
good.
Bomb tacos. Shout out. Everybody put TJ put us on. George.
Yeah.
Taqueria, local place, local spot. I know the bartender, and he's the one that's serving food and
You're getting
doing
hooked
drinks.
up. Attaboy.
And as soon as I walk in, it's packed on Friday night. He sees me with the date. He'll clear up a table real quick for me.
What are you, like Norm from Cheers? You walk in, everybody's screaming your name?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yes.
He knows.
Yes,
Steve,
Because
get him,
he knows
Steve.
whether my tab's either just tacos for her or tacos
Yeah.
for everyone or my family.
Right
He's gonna
on.
get a fat old tip.
Steve,
And I get that.
Get after him, bro. Get after him.
I get that treatment.
I like that. It's good for you, man. That's good. You get good treatment.
So next time you're free, I'll take you out for some tacos.
Right on, man. We'll go to Taqueria.
La Taqueria right there on Solon
Taqueria.
Park.
All right,
Take
perfect.
me out for tacos,
Nah,
bro.
right? Hey, you've had enough tacos already, right? Relax.
Okay.
You broke your toilet after them tacos,
Yeah.
Chris. I had to fix it today.
All right, so back to the food critic
Yeah.
thing. What is like what would be your favorite type of food to review? Is it a certain is it Mexican? Is it American food? What would be like the one that you would like?
Man, I
say,
don't-
This is my fucking bread and butter.
You know what? I don't discriminate anymore. Now there's so many good places to get good meals. I don't care. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I like a steak. I love Italian food. Chinese was always one of the things I like. I like sushi. Ooh. I mean, barbecue
sushi.
is killer. I mean, you can't find the thing is this. Most places you go, you're going to get a great meal every time.
Yeah.
You know, that's just because there's so much variety. Plus, during COVID, I don't know about you guys, but I bought a smoker during COVID. So what I started doing was smoking my own meat. And once I started putting a brisket in there, you do a pork shoulder, I love
Pork butt?
Hey, if you would have met Chris back then, he would have put his ass on the fucking
Hey,
smoker himself.
I got news for you, Misa. A pork butt and pork shoulder are the same thing.
No.
They are.
We gotta call up our buddy Tony, man,
Tony,
from Fourth and
Fourth and
Go.
Go. Shout out Tony.
We had our boy Tony. He owns the Fourth and Go over there
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Where is it at?
It's on.
It's off. It's off. Montana and Hawkins.
If it's not on the west side, I don't know.
It's the same building as the old three-legged monkey.
Somebody got shot and they closed it.
I used to broadcast live.
And then somebody got shot. They're like, all right. Some soldier got shot. Some soldier shot another soldier, and they're like, all right.
And I've also broadcasted live from
Shoulder
4th and
shot
Goal,
the
by the way.
Oh, you did?
Wow. Not recently, not this ownership,
Right.
But when they originally named it 4th and Goal, we were there. I was there probably about a dozen times.
Hey, let's get you back in there. Then.
There you go. That'd be good.
Nah, man,
Let's get
he's
you
got
back in
some
there.
good smoke. And you were saying the shoulder and
It's the
the
same as
butt.
the
is
butt.
Or
the
the butt,
same?
doesn't matter.
So
It's the same
Chris
thing.
tastes the same all the way around.
But
or what?
make sure when you smoke that piece of meat,
You smoke yourself first.
you have. I can see you're well on your way there. But you want to do is you want to make sure you have the bone in, and that way when you're pulling the pulled pork apart, it just comes right off. It's like butter, and you don't dry it out that way. So sometimes it helps to have the bone in because what it'll do is it'll make it a little juicier when you hit that temperature.
Hey, are you a big cook? Do you cook often?
No. My wife's the cook in the family. She is. I barbecue, I smoke, and then I also have a flat top griddle, and I like to. I'll sometimes like to take some burgers, press them up there, and cook them old school.
Them
So
manly meals. That's what you're in charge of.
Exactly. All the healthy stuff. All the healthy stuff.
I don't know about that.
Steve is the official taste tester.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
definitely.
I'll tell you what's else good, right? Get a nice big salmon piece over at either Costco or Sam's. Go on those big full, those
Little
full
fat
salmons.
ones?
and you smoke that for a couple hours at 225 or 180. And
What's
Hey,
Seasonings you
we're
put
gonna
on
have
it.
we're gonna start a new segment with Kaplowitz recipes.
Yeah.
Smoking
Good
with
stuff.
Steve.
Okay.
Smoking with Steve.
So what seasonings are you-
the other smoke, right? The other smoke.
Something's getting smoked.
For the salmon, you want to use like a brown sugar rub, and you can put some salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, and some dried parsley flakes on top. And man, that thing is killer when it's
Hey,
ready to
dude,
go.
Joe, I hope you're taking notes
Yo, honestly,
instead of
I
being
could,
on your phone.
dude, I could see like Steve with like a show on the Food Network for sure.
Yeah, dude.
That would be amazing, dude.
Well, nowadays, smoking
even
is
on your
so
YouTube
easy.
channel.
I mean, think about it. If you got one of those electric pellet grills, all you got to do is put the damn thing on there, wait a couple hours, and it's done.
it does the work for you.
Exactly.
Dude, Steve could be our Chef
That's right.
Gordon of El Paso. Shut it down!
Hell yeah, dude. That's what's up. No, I just thought it was interesting, Steve, when I saw that on your profile. Like, just the fact that you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, well, let's
Maybe that's
talk to
something
him
you could
about
do
it.
after.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, it's fun. I really do like. I mean, there's a guy in town. He's got the best. It's Central Texas barbecue. It's called it's called Desert Oak Barbecue. So he just opened right next to Cowtown Boots this weekend. 7,500 square feet of space. It's huge. He showed me his smokers. Paid like $15,000 per smoker.
Yeah, smokers are expensive.
And he's got 4 of them. And I said, how many briskets can you put on each smoker? He said, comfortably 30.
Dude, hey, or in other words, he's like
God.
10 cows in this bitch.
Yeah,
Let's go.
So think about that, guys. And that
That's a
place,
lot.
and I'm telling you what, I've had his smoked brisket is as good as it gets anywhere.
Right.
Dude,
He
as good
could,
as it gets
he could
anywhere.
end hunger with all that
Yeah.
shit.
He could, and he might. He might. But you
And
know what the good
world
news is? Yeah, now you can drive all the way from the west side over there and make a road trip and say, man, I don't have to go to Austin anymore. I don't need to go to Franklin's barbecue because I've got it here.
Hey, we should have a
That's the way to
cook-off
do
with your boy and Tony.
Smoke off.
I'm not.
off.
Listen, I have no interest.
We'll have
No.
Steve be the food critic.
The critic, exactly.
There you go. Because I'm not.
There it
I'm
is.
not.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm
Steve
not
was like,
smoking.
I'm not smoking
I'm not
that
smoking
shit.
against the pros. No.
You know what, Steve? It's done. It's already done. All right. It's already on camera. It's being
We're
recorded.
gonna do it. Tony
There you go.
versus homie.
Hell yeah, dude.
You
All
get
right,
it popping.
so let's do this. We're 12 minutes in here. Let's do the trending topics.
Oh, good. You weren't going to
have-
ask me about the most overrated restaurant. Thank you. For
Oh,
that.
no.
I was worried about
yes.
that. I was worried
I
about
wanna
that.
go back to that.
What's your
yes.
favorite restaurant? What's the most overrated?
Right.
Favorite restaurant? I have
So many
a
good ones.
bunch of
Give me your
good
top.
have a top
Give us our
three?
top 5.
ones. Okay, so I'll tell you like this.
All right,
Okay,
top 5.
If you want best pizza, best
Piper.
pizza.
Get on the fuck out of here. Shut up, Blue.
Listen,
Dude, stick to beer, Blue.
best pizza is in Picacho Hills in Las Cruces at a place called Forget About It.
Ooh, dude. That's
Forget about it. Forget about it is as good as you will find anywhere in this area. Period. They do it, and he's from Buffalo, so he
knows pizza.
So he's got killer wings, and he's got great pizza, and
be
that
right
pizza is,
back.
that
Hey,
pizza
we're
is
about
as
to
good as
go
it
right
gets.
now.
That pizza is as good as
Is
it
it a
gets.
brick oven style?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, okay, that's pizza
bless,
place. All right,
yes.
your favorite Mexican place.
Ooh, that's now that's tough.
That's tough.
That
You
is
gotta
that
give
is
me
tough.
one. Give me one.
So it just depends on what you're in the mood for, right? Just depends on what you're in the mood
Look, for me, it's my mom's kitchen. It's my mom's kitchen.
If I'm in the mood for chile-rellenos, I'll go to Avila's because I think Avila's
Avila's is fire.
Tell the mic.
But I'll say this, okay? If you want like authentic, like from Mexico, there's a place right across the street from Franklin called Delicias. That is unbelievable. It's got the luchador tables. You seen that? The luchador tables. That's good too.
It's amazing.
So it just depends. Now, tacos, Adventure Zone, McCrory's Tacos.
Hey, what? Wait. I've never heard anybody tell me Adventure Zone tacos are fucking good.
Wait a minute.
Hold on. It's not because they're Adventure Zone tacos. They're McCrory's tacos.
There's a story behind that.
Right. There's a story behind it.
So years ago, when
They're so good.
McCrory's pharmacy was open,
Right.
they sold tacos.
Right.
Yeah, but
And
there's
there-
a pharmacy
and
sold tacos?
and when the
Joe, let him
pharmacy
talk, Joe.
and when the pharmacy closed down the tacos, Adventure Zone hired the original chefs and cooks and brought them in to Adventure Zone to make their tacos.
Right.
So when you order the tacos at Adventure Zone, you get the same
Recipe.
tacos, same everything.
I've always
But
thought,
they're-
how is
they're-
Adventure
they're
Zone still
hard-
fucking
they're-
around?
But they're hard shell tacos. That doesn't sit well with me. I need the
Joe, this is not a question for you. It's a
The
question
hard
for
shell
Steve.
tacos are, but they make the shells are fresh.
They're
Dude.
good. They're fire.
fresh.
They're fire. I've eaten
Never
there. I
had
live
them.
What
down
are you?
the
Are
street.
you're
We
into
live
like
down
the
street.
you're like into the soft tacos?
Yeah, he's into corn tortilla. like
okay.
Like original
unfried.
taco.
as long as they're
Yeah.
gluten
Straight from
free,
El Trompo.
Right.
dairy free.
All right. That's
Okay,
fine.
so
That's fine.
Steve, you have to pick at least one restaurant that's
One restaurant,
the most
Mexican.
overrated.
This
overrated.
is gonna cause a whole lot of heat.
It's okay.
Let's go.
It's okay.
Do it,
We
man.
like heat. It's
We
hot
like
outside.
we want the views.
We like it spicy out here. You know
All
what I'm
right,
saying?
I'm just telling you right now, and I've eaten at this place. All right,
Okay.
and I've never understood the fascination ever.
I think I know what it is.
Hold on, don't say anything.
And I've lived here 44 years now. Okay,
Okay.
Chico's Tacos.
I knew it. Wow.
I'm not mad at you for that.
Look, to be honest, my family hates it. What we go for, I go for, is for the burgers with the green salsa on them.
Haven't had those.
The burgers
All
are
I've
fire,
had now
bro.
is
Hot dog burger?
No, I've never had. The hot dog is too pink, it's too red for me. I won't eat that either. Now, used to go bowl at Bowl El Paso off Long
Okay.
Island. And afterwards, a buddy of mine who lived and grew up in like Northeast said, we got to go eat at Chico's. I'm like, I've never been to Chico's. I go, got to go to Chico's. I go, so we went to Chico's, right? And he goes, you got to have the double order with extra cheese. So I did that, and I saw this crap swimming in sauce. And then after that was done, I was told you got to drink the sauce. And I saw that with the cheese, and I go, no, I'm not doing that. And I watched him suck that stuff down,
Slurped it down.
and he was like, and it's always fascinated me. It really has, about how people have sworn by it. And understand this too, okay? It's never been on the west side of town.
Nope.
There's a reason for that.
Why? Why is that?
Because I don't know. I mean, do you think the West Siders would have gone as crazy for it as it's been in every other part of town?
No.
I don't think so either.
But now
I
it's
think
a-
it's an East El Paso thing.
Right. And what
I
you're
do.
saying.
I mean, I'm from El Paso. I mean, from the west side of El
from the
Paso, and
west
I've
side.
always
Look.
lived on the west side. And I would go all the way over.
I'll
to
drive-
No,
I used to drive
but
all-
that's not what he's saying. He's saying that they would never bring Chico's to the west side for a specific reason. And that's
Because
the
we
same
wouldn't
thing
eat there.
Well, that is exactly what
I've
he's saying.
never understood it. I never have. And here's the thing: it's not like it's bad. It's just some people swear as it's the greatest thing that's ever come out of El Paso.
that's how they grew up with. That was their meal on Sundays after
I gotta
church.
say, just how we talked about how like the service sucks or like it's changed. Like the food there changed too.
No,
I
they
wouldn't-
changed
I
the-
wouldn't-
they
I
changed
wouldn't
the
know.
cheese.
I
They
would-
went
I
from
did-
government
that's a
cheese
mistake.
to
That's a
extra government cheese. I don't know. What
Yeah,
they did.
That's a
somebody told me they changed the cheese.
Yeah, they changed the cheese.
But that's a mistake that
You
your
know-
buddy made, though.
You know what's crazy? I've heard of people getting mailed some Chicos.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild to me.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
Yeah, I'm in Washington. Mail me some fucking Chicos,
Chicos?
with the sauce on the side. What
Well,
the
then,
fuck?
then it's going to be all soft and
Soggy.
No,
yeah,
well,
soggy.
they mail everything on the side.
Oh, then you just make it yourself.
But you see, there's a better place that has better Chico's taco style, like gasoline
the
rays.
third hole.
Fire.
See, when I eat my flautas or like roll tacos,
tacos.
I don't like them soggy.
They're
That's
called
not.
they're called flautas, not tacos.
Well,
by the
there's
way.
different versions. I've seen roll tacos and I've seen flautas. I've seen both, but I like my flauta where it's still crispy. And then I can put some guacamole on there,
Get
some
on there.
salsa,
Yeah, get on-
Some sour
and
cream.
Yeah,
Hey,
sour cream. Absolutely,
my
absolutely.
mom's about to get out of
work.
work. My mom's about to get to work. I'll invite you for some real flautas.
Who invited this guy?
This guy, first off, he's got tequila. Now he's got tacos. He's got everything. He's,
I got
this is
everything. Hey, fuck
Okay,
these guys.
all right.
Yeah,
Joe.
well, maybe we should walk out and have this.
Yeah, I'll host the rest of this episode.
Joe, can you just give us the national topics here? So Chico's Tacos overrated. I agree with you, Mr. Steve. Right? Put it here. Thank you. So we got some trending topics.
I'm just saying,
here.
man, that's going to cause a lot of problems
I
for
know it will.
listeners.
I know.
You're going to see a lot of domestic violence calls.
I could be getting hate mail. I understand that. I knew this was going to be a tough topic.
Right.
I was, I almost kept it quiet.
But you're not alone. Steve.
Chico
I gotta
sucks.
say, you're not
Chico
alone.
sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I just said that.
Hey,
I just
I'm
don't
saying that.
understand.
Overrated.
I don't
We're
understand. I've never understood the fascination from Chico's.
Yeah, you know
That's
what?
it. And I've eaten there. Okay, so it's one thing to say I think it's overrated,
Right,
but
I've never been
I've
there.
eaten there
Right.
about 5 times.
When's the last time you ate
Look,
there?
man. Look, the only
It's been probably, I would say, at least 12 to 15 years.
Look, dude, what I like about eating at Chico's is the fact that I feel safe because there's always a security
No,
guard
but
standing
get
there
this.
with a
They
gun.
only take cash.
I carry cash. Anyways,
Okay.
Okay, trending topics.
next.
One last thing on Chico's, Steve. I saw some company from Austin, like a video company. They did like a whole special on Chico's, and I was like, okay, that was a little extreme. Like you guys, Chico's is not worthy of a whole special.
I think maybe they did it just because it's been open
It's
so
a staple.
long.
It's
Right,
a
right.
Paso staple.
Right,
It's
right,
a
right,
staple
right.
like Kaplowitz.
Right. There you go. Okay, trending topics.
Chico's is a real staple. Chico's
No,
is
you're a
El
staple
Paso
too. You're a
history.
staple too.
I've been doing this a long
Look,
time.
you're up
That's
there.
the-
Look,
there's a
you're up there
difference.
with Teicher, Buzz Adams. That's who you're with. Chico's.
I appreciate that.
Chico's.
Thank you. I feel good about that. That's good company.
At least
That's
to
good
me. At
company.
least to me.
Jesus Christ.
Joe,
Anyways,
Steve is never gonna come back if you keep going with that shit.
Nah, I got some 70 for him. He's definitely gonna come back.
Okay, can we get the trending topics?
Trending
please?
topics. So, anyways, we got the news that EA splits from FIFA
Yeah.
and rebrands as EA Sports FC.
Here's the moral of this story: don't get greedy.
Right.
FIFA was greedy. They wanted more money.
Bro, FIFA is so greedy,
Yep.
dude.
And
for
EA
everything.
Sports said, "Screw you. We'll do it ourselves.
We don't need
We've
you
got the
guys."
rights to the same teams and players, and we'll
Right.
just create our own division." And so they don't do a World Cup. Who cares? They're going to have everybody in the Premier League, Bundesliga, and every other big league there is.
That's
anyway.
all that matters, too.
Exactly.
And,
right.
and the people that play FIFA, that like myself, people that are gamers who play FIFA a lot,
He's actually good at
they're
FIFA.
they're not going to give a fuck about
No,
FIFA
we're not.
being removed from the title.
So-
I
No.
could care less.
So what are they gonna do? How are they gonna get the licensing for that?
Well, so the licensing, I'm assuming, is going to be done with each team or which each.
Just how was it last year or 2 years ago that
Yeah, they lost the Juventus license.
was gone.
But what I think they're going to do is they'll position themselves. So they'll go with La Liga, they'll go with
Right.
Bundesliga,
That's what
they'll go
they're
with the
doing.
Premier League,
Yep.
and say, hey, we're going to give you this much money. You give us
They're
our
gonna
rights
take
to your
it. They're gonna
players.
take it.
And they are, yes, of
course
course.
they're gonna
Sports-
take it.
Let me ask you on that topic. Who's your who's your favorite soccer team?
That's good, Mr. Outside of Locomotive FC, obviously, because
Obviously.
I'm following
Yes,
them
sir.
just because
Hey,
it's El
let's go.
Paso and I want to see that good. You know what? It's funny. I've always liked in the English Premier League. I've liked Liverpool.
Hey, they actually won right now. They
Yeah,
beat Chelsea.
today in the FA Cup final.
Good. I like Liverpool. I like the story. I've got a bunch of buddies that are Liverpool fans, and I've got some cousins in Denmark. So that's another cool thing about me. I married a woman whose dad is from Copenhagen. The mom is from El Paso. So half Danish, half El Paso. And all the Danes still live there. And when we go visit, they're huge Liverpool fans. So I've adopted Liverpool because of them. And
Hey,
I'm
that's
telling
awesome,
you,
man.
let me get-
That's like legit, like
That's
fans
legit.
right there.
Let me get your prediction on the Champions final. Who do you got? Of course, Liverpool. But
Yeah,
give me
I
the
mean-
score. Give me a score.
I mean, first, it's soccer. So, I mean, what am I going to say? 2-1?
That's a very good scoreline.
I love it. That's 2-1. Hey,
so funny.
Hey,
It's
but
soccer.
mind you,
I could have said 1-0.
Yeah, that's the episode title right
it's
there.
going to
I mean,
shootouts.
Hey, but I mean, you saw the
Steve, that was great, dude.
You saw the semifinals with Real Madrid when they came back in 2 minutes.
They beat Man City.
With Man City with the
Yeah.
penalty to
that's
score.
one of a chance. But
Nope.
Steve, are you a gamer? Did you actually game?
My son games, not me.
Right.
So my son. So here's the deal. I never gamed as a kid. In college, a little bit. We played Sega. I like Sega. The original
Sonic.
The original hockey in Sega was great because when you would fight and they would go down, they'd start bleeding. They had a little blood across their face.
Oh, no way. So in the game, back then, you couldn't even fight.
And you made them bleed. It was great. If you won the fight, the other player would go down. His face was covered in blood, which is a lot back in those days. That was fun. But no, so I don't game. My son does. He's big into Fortnite.
Hey, my kids too.
Yep, really. Now he's switching to Sonic. He likes the Sonic game, and he's all into that. So ultimately, he games. We got him a Switch, and probably a mistake because that thing is addictive. It's addictive.
Dude, imagine us having a Switch back then.
What do you have? Do you have a Game Boy back then?
Yeah,
I'd be looking at Chris.
Playing Game Boy Color Pokemon. Bro.
Yeah, I'll be on there with the red, with the gold.
All right, so what we got next, Joe?
So on the next one, and I'm sure everybody's...
This one breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart too, because, I've owned a couple of these. I found a couple of these. The iPod Touch, the iPod...
Being discontinued.
They're being discontinued.
Okay, so first off, if you own an Android but you love the iPods, I get that. But if you're an iPhone guy... What the fuck are you doing with an iPod?
Right.
Seriously. What are you doing?
True.
What are you doing with a device that is the same as your phone? So why do you need one of these? What's the point?
Well, that's the thing. Like I bought my iPod way before I even had an iPhone. But once I got an iPhone, I stopped.
Why would you keep it? I mean, you don't need it.
It became irrelevant, essentially.
It's the same. Right. It's the same thing.
And you know what's weird? And you know what's weird is like Apple did this to themselves in a way where they created the MP3 player, the iPod, which was the fad for so many years. And then they made their phone do the exact same thing that your iPod could do.
With calls.
While still being your phone. And texting, taking photos.
So here's the thing. Let's say you want to go for the smallest memory capacity and you want an iPod with more memory that can do more things. Right. That I understand. But now Apple keeps upping the minimum gigs every time they come out with an iPhone.
I think the new minimum's like 32 or 64 now.
It's 64. My parents just bought an iPhone 13. And my dad needs maximum memory. So like we can offer you like something like 300 and something gigabytes. And my dad's like, I'll take it. My mom's like, I need the minimum. What's the minimum? 64.
Yeah.
I believe that.
That's
so
crazy.
in other words, there's no reason for that. So it's funny. We still keep some of our old digital cameras because we couldn't sell them at garage sales. And I was looking at one of them and I saw that I had like 128 megabytes in this old Sony memory card stick that's like 20 something years old. And that was big back in the days. 128 megs was like huge. Nowadays, it doesn't even hold anything. Right. So it's crazy to think about how much.
I just found a thumb drive, like a USB thumb drive, and it was like 4 gigabytes. And I was like, dude, you can't do shit.
This is fat. Yeah. Now I got a PS4 with the terabyte.
Well,
I got
like I mean back in the day, the first iPods were like 8 gigabytes.
8 gigabytes.
And that was like the big, was like 16. It was 8 in the 16.
Right. So that was like 200 songs.
Actually, not to flex, but shout out Molina. You can quote me on this. I was the first person at Franklin to have a fucking iPod Mini.
Good for you.
Great. Give him a round of applause.
Give me a round of applause for that. But I thought that was the coolest thing. Everybody thought that was the coolest thing. Like you have an iPod Mini. Like what is that?
So I still have an iPod.
I have 2 iPods.
Are you gonna keep it, Steve?
Closet.
Okay, but that's the thing. Like how you said. Like why would you need it? You
I don't even know if mine works. I haven't turned it on in probably 5 years.
Well, and then so the other thing that's gonna happen is that
I haven't turned mine in like 10 years.
So in order to update an iPod, you have to plug it into a computer.
Yes.
Eventually, the softwares on the computers are not going to be compatible with that, and then the iPod is going to be rendered useless completely.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Which they're already rendered useless as is, but now when you cut the software off,
well, that's why you gotta add all these old songs that you have
that you want and give them to your kids.
I mean, that iPod that you're seeing right there on that's what mine looks like, basically.
Yeah.
I have 2 of those.
That big disc. It's not the full touch. That's like the phone. It's like that.
The wheel.
I have 2 of the
It's
mini
the
ones.
classic.
Yeah, that's
All
badass.
right, Joe, so last trending topic we have, this one kind of made me laugh because we talked about this before when this happened. Steve, remember the guy did you hear about the robbery of the Wells Fargo bank downtown?
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was that you, Steve?
So
I couldn't find the article. I couldn't find the article how much he stole because EP Times is like let me get a $2.99.
Yeah, they put it behind a paywall. So he robbed Wells Fargo for $1,900.
$1,900.
That's it. That's all he
how long
got.
did
He's
it
all
take
like,
him?
I want my stimmy.
How long did it take him? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, they caught him outside of Albuquerque.
And he was super happy about it
Yeah.
too. Did you see his mugshot?
He was happy getting caught, huh?
Yeah.
Dude,
his mugshot, he's got the biggest grin ever.
He's like, you know how they caught him? Supposedly because he left his handprint on another bank.
yeah. They matched up his fingerprints somehow. And
They're
the
like, we
FBI
got
found
your
his
ass. Dude, the FBI.
But $1,900, dude, to rob a bank. Like,
And
what the fuck is that?
Is that what he asked for?
No, that's what he
all
got.
they had on, I guess, on hand. The teller that he robbed her at gunpoint only had that much cash.
Well,
on
that's
hand.
another good thing to think about right now is that nowadays, because so many tellers are all virtual,
They don't use cash.
nobody uses cash anymore. That's true. So
Imagine he
you
goes
can't
to
get anything.
JCU and he's like, let me get money. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I
So
don't
that
fucking be hand-
okay. So that being said, 1,900 is a lot.
I guess
a lot.
nowadays it is.
Nowadays
considering
is
the
a
thing.
lot. If it's
It's
cash,
still a lot.
it's
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy though. But stupid. It's just so dumb. Like you're gonna go to jail.
You
for
know
a
what?
long
You know.
time.
You know
I
what's
know.
so crazy that baffled me is the fact that it was in downtown, and you would think like there's so many police out there. You know, like they have a police station right there.
Yeah, the fact that he got out of there,
right there,
without getting
and he
caught.
was gone for a while. And they
Maybe,
don't.
that's why he's smiling in his
Yeah.
mugshot because he knows
He spent that money already. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, Coach,
He won. He beat him. He beat the man.
Yeah, he beat EPPD.
Bro, he took that money and went to Cattleman's twice.
No.
What was that? That's
He
that was it.
he filled up his gas tank, and then that's it.
I know where he went. He went to Burka and he had a party out there.
And that's it, dude. Okay, so that was our last trending topic.
Yes, sir.
So if you're gonna rob a bank, guys, make sure to get 1,900 at least.
At
At
least.
If not,
have a
you're
good
not
time.
doing it right.
And use gloves.
Right.
Use gloves.
Use gloves.
Use gloves next time.
Okay,
Don't put your
so-
hands on anyone.
Or 1,800.
Or you can come out with 1,800. It's fine. All right. So does anybody know what time it is? Let's get ready to
Do you have the
transition.
time?
What time
to
is
the
it?
back end
Mr.
of the
Steve
podcast.
Kaplowitz, do you have the time? Can you get us the time?
is it?
You guys want the time?
Wait, what the? It is time for the 5 random questions here.
Everybody was
Conversing with Chris
panicking
and
for the
Misa
time.
podcast, hosted by your boy Chris Marquez.
Bro, Chewy jumped out of his chair.
He
to
jumped
show
out of
us
his chair
the
and was
time.
like, this is the time right now.
He's
What
like,
is
bro,
this
I
is the
got
time.
you. It's 1:51, brother.
He tried calling my phone. during that time.
I thank you for that, Chewy. I thank you for that.
Look at him.
He's got 2 phones. Damn, calm down,
Guys,
Kevin Gates.
Guys, so to wrap up the podcast here, you know how we like to do this. We like to bring on our guests, hit them with 5 random questions that are truly just that. They are random.
Okay, good. I like that.
Mr. Kaplowitz, are you ready for this?
Sure.
Joe, are you ready for this?
Been ready.
Misa?
Open your eyes then, Joe.
I'm trying to.
Jesus Christ. I'm ready.
Okay, so question number 1. Let me get some music here, Misa.
I've always wanted to be a game show
Yeah,
host.
dude, this is
by
my
the way.
favorite
That's
song, by
another
the
one of
way.
my
Yeah.
desires.
Right?
I'd love to be hosting a game show. I want to host The Price is Right.
Bro, that would
Oh,
be
that'd be
great.
dope. You have the voice for
I'd
it.
like to host like a late night show.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Also, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Underrated.
Underrated.
Great show. Okay, anyways, question number 1, Mr. Steve. Is it better to take a shower at night or in the morning?
Morning.
Yes,
Oh, morning. But
AM
so what,
showers, baby.
You're gonna go to sleep all sweaty and shitty? You
No, it's that.
It wakes you up.
Okay.
Here's the thing. If you take the shower at night and then you wake up in the morning, then you still have bedhead. Then
Right.
what are you going to do? You got to
Right.
go back in the shower and fix your hair. So then take you 2 showers.
Okay, how about this? Have you taken,
So
have
what's
you taken
wrong with 2 showers?
Have you taken showers in the morning and at night?
I have.
Oh, there you go. Let's do it.
I've taken showers at night. Sometimes you have to. If you're out and you just get completely disgusting, you got to take a shower.
I
at
gotta
night.
take a shower. Oui, oui.
Yeah, but you know, I'll take morning because morning it
Yeah.
freshens you up. You wake
Bro,
up when
it's
you take a shower.
invigorating, bro.
That's what
It's
morning hair. Bro, do you
invigorating.
have a fresh ass cut like this?
Get
I don't
the
have
fuck
I don't
outta
have
here.
that I don't have that hair.
Oh, damn.
Joe, what's so fresh about that? Fucking
Fresher than you.
crusty ass fucking haircut. Anyways,
Okay,
next question.
I'm a morning shower guy. Just let the record show.
I'm a morning one too.
Okay.
Okay, nice. I love me a morning shower. All right, question number 2, guys. Mr. Steve, when you go to put gas at the pump,
Yeah.
do you stop on the exact dollar amount, or do you is a
Until
few
it
cents
fills up.
Go
off?
till
Okay.
full.
Okay, good question. Random, I like it. The only time I will ever take the pump and get to the exact dollar amount is if it's at like either 97, 98, or 99. And then I'll just hit the even number. But for the most part, I don't care. Whatever it stops, it
Hey,
stops.
wait, have you ever gotten over?
What's that?
Have you ever gotten over?
I have, and it pisses me off.
He's like, that's why Steve's like, I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I just avoid the issue.
I will if I get to like 01, I'm like son of and then I'll go to like 25 just to get to an even.
Here's the quarter. He'll end up putting an extra $10 because he just can't get it.
Yeah,
bro, that would be hilarious.
That would
I love that question. That was a great question.
That was a good question.
Good question.
All right, question number 3, Mr. Steve. Simple question here. Favorite candy of all time?
Ooh.
Payday is mine.
Favorite candy of all time?
Paydays are so fucking
No,
good.
he used to say it was
M&M's for me.
Yeah, I'm regular M&M's.
Regular, not the
M&Ms.
M&M's. Hell yeah,
M&Ms.
Steve. Now we have something in common. Fuck Joe.
There you go.
a very aggressive. Hell yeah, Steve. Very aggressive.
Why you?
Okay.
By the way, if you ever go to a Dairy Queen and get the M&M Blizzard,
Oh, God.
That's fire. Okay,
that
that's
is
fire.
serious.
Bro,
serious
just
stuff.
Steve, you need to go to Cruises and go to Kalich's.
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 I used to work for Kalich's when I was here. And,
They're not here anymore.
Nah, they used to be by the
they
mall
were
around
out
here.
back in
By Cinemark.
Yeah,
They
right,
left.
Redcom. Yeah, they
Wait,
left.
they've been gone since
2006.
Dude,
that shows you the last time I've been to Cinemark to see a movie.
They've been gone for like 20 years, my guy.
But look, the thing is, it's frozen custard. It's not even like ice
So
cream. It's,
good.
like, it's really good, right?
Sounds
so
good.
you get it with regular M&Ms and some Rice Krispies
Oh, there you go.
mixed in.
Okay.
Add a caramel drizzle to that? Oh, God.
Shut up, Chris.
Okay, question number 4. Mr. Steve, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh. God, that's a tough one.
Like
Biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, like mine is like,
I got to think about that one for a second.
mine is like, when you tell somebody like to meet you somewhere at a certain time and they're not there,
That's you.
Yes.
No,
that-
That's you. You're always late.
So that was my.
Always late?
No,
What
Chris,
do you mean?
Chris is the type that's like, yeah, I'm down to do that day, and then that day comes like, no, man, I got shit to do.
Yeah, but the
That's
worst
my
part
biggest
is
pet
when they
peeve.
commit to it.
Yeah,
and,
you
know
like
what I
you
mean?
always commit. You never. That's our biggest pet
that's
peeve.
Chris.
There's levels of commitment, but yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve.
Ooh, that's
Got to
a
be
good
on
one.
time.
That's a good one. Yeah, and I'm guilty. When my first date with my now wife, I was like 5 minutes
You're
late. She and I'm lucky I got that first date. She was ready to say goodbye.
Damn.
So she's just like you. Be on time. That's
Right.
from my father-in-law. Same exact
Right.
thing.
Yeah, I got that from my mom. I would say she was always big on that. Like you asked, better be on time.
Yeah, I got to think about that. What bothers me more than anything else. That's
Shitty drivers, second. Close
yeah. I was
second.
gonna say driving is one of my biggest pet peeves. If you're gonna take a lane change, signal.
Signal, please.
Because the worst is when it's like the Indianapolis 500 on Mesa, and everybody decides to go from lane to lane without signaling, and so zigzagging all around. You're like, dude, you're going to get into an accident.
Yes.
Just keep me away from it so I can avoid that as much as possible.
Right. I agree with you there.
I would
100%.
probably.
You get a lot of road rage around El Paso? Are you the person that like road rages? That like
I've behaved because nowadays somebody can just come out and shoot you.
Yeah, dude,
Simple
they'll
as
just
that.
pull out a gun on your
yeah,
ass.
it's
Yeah.
like, you know what? You can't let that stuff get
well, I
to you.
mean, not unless you shoot them first.
Hey, stay strapped.
It's Texas.
Self-defense.
Stay strapped or get clapped.
Right. Okay. Question number 5, last one. So did we get an answer there, Steve? At all?
I would say signaling it for driving.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Signaling for driving. Okay,
That
great.
and when you're done taking a piss, wash your friggin' hands.
Hey, dude, for real, man.
Seriously. If
Did
there's
you
something-
wash your hands, Joe?
And this has
Always.
nothing to do with COVID.
Right.
This is just all about just wash your
Sanitary.
hands.
What if I don't have to
Just
touch it? I just pull down my pants and just does this thing.
All right.
Joe,
who
your
cares,
hands are
Joe?
still dirty, bro.
go.
Fucking A.
What if I don't have to touch it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, Steve, are you that one guy that washes their hands before they use the restroom?
No.
You do that, Chris.
Who does that?
I've seen that a lot at my work, man. Like, there's a lot of people that come through and I'll walk into the restroom and I see a guy washing his hands and I was like, all right, this guy's out of here already. No, dude, this guy's done. And I'll
He
go
goes in
straight to
there.
the urinal and he
No.
looks at me and he's like, you want me to shake that? My hands are clean. I'm
He
like,
goes
bro,
and takes
chill.
a shit.
All right.
All right, last question here. Question number 5. We get a little bit more music. God, I love this fucking song. Such a great song.
That's my favorite song.
All right, question number 5. Last one, Mr. Steve. Would you ever go skydiving? And I'm talking like you're strapped to another person. They jump out the plane with you.
I've actually given it thought. Probably not.
Okay, me too. I would not do
I've
it.
never even gone to iFly.
Right.
And that's about the closest thing you're going to get outside
Yeah.
of jumping out of a plane.
Indoor
So
skydiving.
yeah, haven't done that either. So no, that really doesn't do anything.
Hey, it's not that. It's not that
bad.
bad as it looks.
really not that bad.
I've jumped out of Santa Teresa and and honestly, it's an experience.
What's
It's an
the
experience.
scariest experience that you had and stuff like that?
Scariest?
Yeah, like something that you were
So
just like,
so years ago, this was about, I don't know, now it's like 6 years ago. I flipped an ATV and it landed on my back.
oh my God.
And my wife thought I was dead. Seriously, because we were over at the wall over here.
Hey, we're always at the wall.
So I had never been really on ATVs, like riding them, other than just going real slow. And one of my buddies, it wasn't a big hill, it's just a little hill. He goes, take it up and give it some gas. So I gunned it and I lost control and I like went off of it. And as I jumped off the bike, it went up and then it landed on me. So what ended up happening was I broke my wrist. So I've got a plate and 11 screws in my wrist, but it rolled on top of me. And at first I thought I broke my back. I did. But then when I was able to get up and get my breath after about a minute or so, I realized I can breathe. So chances are my back isn't broken. But I went to an ER and, scary stuff. You hear about these accidents all the time, and you think about, well, if that thing lands on me, maybe another inch or foot or whatever, I could be a goner. So that was about as scary as anything I've dealt with. And I think I was 43 or 44 when it happened. So the point is, I shouldn't have been on it in the first place doing stupid stuff like that. But unfortunately, it happened, and it scared my family. But I was able to walk away from it.
Yeah, thank God.
And that's about as scary a situation that I've had to deal with.
It reminds me when I was like 18, I went up to Watertown, South Dakota with my dad, and his father-in-law had a quad that me and my friend got on, and we were just going crazy on it, and I ended up trying to drift so fast. I turned it, going too fast, and I fucking flipped, and the shit landed on me, and it rolled over, and I'm thinking like, oh, I broke my back. I had a gash on my head, and I was bleeding, and I was like, dude, I can't walk, can't feel my legs, bro.
That's why you get Can-Ams, dog.
And I went to the hospital, and they told me like, hey, if it was like 2 inches lower, you would have been paralyzed from your waist down. That shit was bad.
I know.
I think you might be because you walk weird, a little weird. But
yeah, dude.
But the point is, haven't been on an ATV since. Don't really have any interest in it. And
you want to go off-roading in the Jeep? I'll take you right now.
No thanks.
No, thank you, Joe.
I got the roll cage. I'm straight.
Yeah.
Joe, he doesn't want to even remember you after this, dude. Chill.
He's got the roll cage. It's okay. We got the roll cage, man. We'll roll down the whole wall with this bitch. All right, so Mr. Steve, those are 5 random questions. Let's get ready to wrap up this podcast, guys. Let's give our final thoughts today. Let's start with you, Joe.
Mr. Steve, thank you so much for coming out, giving us time out of your busy schedule, because you're always on point. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a voice, or at least our generation. I hope your kid grows up to and takes to that, and my kid listens to him. My kid's 5. Our kid, they're about to be 6. They're 6 years old.
Good.
Thank you for everything you do for sports in El Paso. I'm gonna keep listening. I'll get you on that Julio 70. We'll get about this after the pod. I got you.
Steve, don't let him forget, because he does.
I'll forget. Right. I'll be like, yo, what's up, man? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you for your time being here. Love you guys. I haven't seen you guys in a minute.
Thanks for having me. It was good to meet you, Joe.
Misa, final thoughts.
Yeah, Steve Kaplowitz, I don't know.
Kaplowitz. By the way, that happens. And you want to know something?
Hard.
I'll get calls from telemarketers, and they'll be like, "Can I speak with Mr. Kaplowski?" And here's what I tell them. I say, "If you can find the friggin' ski in my name, I'll talk to you."
Right. He's like, I'll throw hands right now.
Otherwise, if you could tell me where the ski is, otherwise, please hang up. And there's usually about a 3-second pause. And then they hang up the phone.
They're like, click.
It's funny because like every time I come out and I'm gonna do an episode or whatever, my son's always like, Dad, where are you going? I'm gonna go do an episode with who? And then I'll tell him who I have. And this time I was like with Steve Kaplowitz, and he's like, Steve Wawowski. It reminded me of the movie Monsters.
I love Monsters.
But yeah, thank you so much,
Monsters.
Steve.
You're welcome.
I'm glad. I know it took a while, and I could understand, but I appreciate it for you still hitting us back. I wish you the best.
Thanks, man.
Hopefully we could have you back sometime soon. We could hang out maybe outside of the pod. But thank you very much. This was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to give a shout out to our boy Chewy from Next Gen Sports right here, guys. This guy is the guy who made our merch. Merch dropping soon. Thank you very much. Speaking of Steve, I wanna gift you this bandana.
Oh wow!
Conversing with Chris. This is the first ones that we made.
Those are cool. Guys.
This is just for you, brother.
That's awesome.
That's original. Look, that's the first. That's one of
the first ones that we've made. So was it
like one of three that Chewy printed out?
Thank you.
One of three.
That. Do you have one? I hope because you're wearing a bandana now. Yeah. So that's really cool.
I'm keeping one for sure.
Hey, but before that, we all gotta sign that for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll put that up on the radio station. We'll have this up as like one of our trophies. That's cool.
Yeah,
Thanks,
appreciate it. Awesome. So thank you very much, everybody listening. Thank you so much. You guys make sure to follow, subscribe, and most importantly, you guys make sure to stay fresh.
Mr. Steve, final thoughts today.
I mean, I'll just say this, guys. Enjoyed the time. It was a lot of fun. I like this show because it's loose. Nobody really takes themselves too seriously, which is good. I've never done that either. You can't. Just have fun. Right. And best advice I could tell you doing podcasts like I've been doing radio is be yourselves. Just have a good time. Enjoy it. And, after that, you just get to the point where it's like everything else you do. You don't even realize you're doing
natural,
it. Yeah, you don't even realize you're doing a podcast. You're just having a good time, having fun. And listenership will grow. More and more people will be checking it out. And before you know it, you guys will be bigger than me, which is something I'm excited about checking out.
That would be that'd be a day to remember, man.
Yes, sure. Great. Yeah, great words right there, Steve. Thank you very much for that. My final thoughts today, guys. Mr. Steve, once again, thank you for coming through. We know how busy you are, but we really do appreciate you coming and hanging out with us for some few hours here on a Saturday. I think what you do for a living is really amazing. It's kind of like a dream job of mine.
It's badass, dude.
It's something that we would all love.
Yeah,
for sure.
And just for, like I said, about having like Teicher in here, to have you in here, it's been like a dream come true for me. So thank you guys for that. Obviously, we'll be supporting you, as your career goes. And you have an open door policy here, man. Whenever you want to come back on.
Good, Steve. If you ever want to go try Chico's again, we could. And we'll vlog about it, and we'll truly do a whole food.
And we can have that barbecue, the barbecue off, the smoke off.
But
there you go. That sounds like fun too, guys.
So yeah, man. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
We hope you enjoy your gifts, your tequila
your
bottle.
leftover bottle.
That.
Yes.
That'll be good.
Guys, with all that being said, episode 124, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Make sure you guys are liking us on Facebook, subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on Instagram, and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. With all that being said, guys, shout out our boy Chewy from Next Gen Sports for the merch. Episode 124 with Steve Kaplowitz. We are...
Let's go.
Out!
Bitch, I get you tapered like a new fresh haircut. Put it in ignition, now a nigga got his keys stuck. Zanny got amnesia. Hose down, G's up, bitch. Ooh, hit me back with the